Welcome to Grave Stories from the petrified, terrified gravedigger. That's me. So scared, I can't say the words. Welcome to Looking at Me. We're back. I couldn't get my dang fog machine to work. Hang on. Is it a juice? I bet you it's haunted. That's what happened. Only explanation. Fog machine is haunted, not working anymore. Welcome, everyone. How are you doing? Are you ready to lose your brains? And some of the scariest stories in the world. If you guys were here last week, you heard some of the best ghost stories on the planet. All right, let's go to the chat. See what's up with all my friends. How you might have noticed, I have a brand new microphone. Check this out. Boom. Why does it do it like that? No, stop. Okay, here we go. Ready? Watch this. Okay, watch this sweet fade. Why? See, I don't want that to happen. Get off of there. Oh, I'm messing with my fading. Merge, man. There we go. There we go. Is that showing a... Hang on. Okay, that's good. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't flashing like the other image. Okay, going to the chat. All right, hey everybody, I'm here. I'm live. I see you. All the comments are catching up. Sheep Prod, you got good stories for us today? I sure do. Nate, put up mic. You think it does it not sound good? It's like literally right in my face. It will be in the way if it's too much closer. It's like 2 fingers from my face. Does it sound... Oh, you mean put up as in the volume. Really? Is it too quiet? I tested it earlier. I did a lot of tests. From my face. Does it sound... That sounds good to me. Up as in the volume. You might have to turn up your volume. Yeah, everyone seems to think it sounds good. Dang, I finally, it's like, I just need to get the freaking good mic. I need to get a real microphone. So as you can see, here is a Audio Technica real microphone. I don't know mics very well, but it wasn't too cheap. And it has the arm. I got the stinking arm, the bendy arm, the haunted arm. It's quiet for you too, Chappie? Loic, is it quiet for you? Chicken Slayer, sound good for you? I can get a little closer. It is shiny. I got two mics so that when I do the whole story, the interview. By the way, did anyone watch the whole story? I had Susie Burhow, aka Mortimer, aka the Queen of Kitty Cat Gaming, aka Game Grump Madam, on the first episode, and I put that up. I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna try to do it once a week, as well as doing this live stream once a week. So I got 2 ghosty shows a week. Or this one, obviously, you guys know I just read ghost stories, and it's my favorite. It's real nice. It looks like the mic my dad uses for voiceover. Ooh, sweet sheep prod. I'm into that. Awesome. Thanks, Dorlaxon. Thanks, Chicken Slayer. Thanks for watching. Hailstorm, Xander? Dang, really? I'm glad you like Susie Ice Boys. I also have anxiety about dying. Chappie, don't we all? Yeah, it's like stressful. I don't like thinking about death at all because I like being here on the universe. All right, glad you liked her, Allison. Okay, cool. Hello, Alex. Scary Maniac. You have to make some Halloween special. I will. I've been thinking about it. I'm going to do something spectacular. I should throw out a shout out to my sponsor, Wet Water. They also sponsored Keith Apocary's gymnasty. Too many videos. What the heck was Keith's show? Chips and Drips. I spaced on that. Chips and Drips with Keith Apocary, sponsored by Wet Water, as well as Grave Stories from a Grave Digger. Hear how good that microphone is? So you might not hear my farts as well, but you'll hear my burps in 4D, that's for sure. This thing's pretty isolating. It's like hard to hear someone on the other side of the room. I did some tests earlier, so I don't think you guys will hear the crickets outside anymore. The snowball mics, I got rid of the snowballs, and yeah, I'm ready. You ready yet? I'll turn it. I'm going. Don't worry. I love your Sonic Mania commercial. Thanks. Thanks, Troy is filming. Yeah, you guys should check out the Sonic the Hedgehog YouTube channel because they put up the new commercial. It wasn't my video, Troy. That was just a commercial I was in of Sega's, and I was beyond happy to be in it, and all things positive and cheery and great and grateful and thankful. It was awesome. Dang! Chappie starting off. I just got a donation. Chappie's always starting it off. Thanks, Chappie. If you guys didn't know, I'll mention it because I kind of have to because it definitely pays my bills. And this show right here is probably my number one main source of income right now. In between acting jobs and acting jobs are very few and far in between. Ones that pay well, at least ones that pay more than $100. So if you guys do like this and you like watching, please donate what you can if you can. If you can't, thank you for being here, and please spread the word if you have friends that like spooky stuff. There we go. This is where your hard-earned donations are going to. They're going to this smoke machine. Boom. Check out that transition. All right, everybody. Thank you again, Chappie. Thank you for that donation. I really appreciate it. $5 starting us off. So if you guys want to donate, you can donate to the link in the description. It goes right to, it's like it says donate directly. That's my Streamlabs. It goes right to my PayPal. No one gets a cut of it except for me. Or you can do it in the super chat here inside the chat. You can click that dollar symbol and give $1 because I really, and I don't like saying it, but I have to, and I wouldn't say it. And if it wasn't serious, I definitely can use it. So thank you, everyone. All right, let's get to the stories. I'll do a little bit of chatting after, but we should just start it off. If you guys have seen this before, I do it for a long time. Last week was 5.5 hours, so I might not do it as long this week. I was really into it last week. But I'll read a bunch of stories and I'll hang out and chat. Then I'll read more stories, hang out and chat. This one I haven't read. I've been putting it off because the long titles, for some reason, I go, it's a long title. It's not good. But I've learned to not judge any of these stories by their titles. Because last week I read 2 of the best ghost stories I've ever read in my life, and I didn't expect them to be very good. Alex, the shoes are no longer available. Macbeth doesn't really make shoes anymore, unfortunately. But they will be. I won't dance right now, Banana Fox, but I will be dancing at some point very soon, I'm sure. Where do you get your short brim hats? That's a cadet hat. Oh, shut up, Chappie. Chappie. You guys can't see this, but I just got a donation in my Streamlabs directly Chappie, that's you, right? That your name begins with a W. I'm almost positive of this. Chappie, everyone needs to thank Chappie right now. Chappie is champion. Holy crap. Because, oh my God, Chappie, you're a mental patient. Chappie just donated $300. Oh my God, Chappie. The shoes are no longer available, Alex. Sorry, they're like sold out. Um, Champion Chappie. That needs to be the hashtag. Wow, Chappie. Chappie. Peter. Oh, I don't know if you want me to say your last name, but I just got another one from Peter. Direct donation for $5. That's $310, and I haven't even started the stories yet. You guys, seriously. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to say. I can't say enough. So I was talking to my brother about this. I was like, last week I made like $300, and I was like, if I did this every week, I could try to make my rent in 1 month if I just do it one time a week, and I'd got at least if I get at least $400. If I did $400 every time I did it, and I did it once a week, every time I stream over the stream, if I got $400, I could pay my rent and not have to worry about rent ever again. This would be like my job. And then I would end up doing it more than once a week because people seem to be liking it. I'm sorry I'm talking so much. I'm going to get to the stories. Oh my God. I'm doing this. I'm commenting in here. Champion Chappie hashtag. Holy crap. Chappie, that's you, right? Am I like giving you credit for someone else's donations? Chappie, I can't see your comments. LOL, it's gotta be you. Yeah, it's me. Okay, cool. Who is the last person that just did it? Your name Peter. I won't say your last name in case you don't want me to, but thank you, Peter. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are unbelievable. Oh my God. Wow. Okay. Man, I feel like it just needed to turn this stream into like thanking Chappie. But let's do the ghost stories. That's all. That's what we're all here for, right? Dang, this is blowing my mind. Yeah, man, that's more than I got paid when I was an actual gravedigger. I got paid like nothing to be in the dirt digging a hole. Who knew that now playing the role of my worst job ever, the job I hated the most, would pay me more than when I was doing it for real? Being a fake gravedigger now is paying me more than being a real gravedigger. Wow. I would accept. Oh my God, Rachel. Rachel just donated. Rachel, who are you in the chat? Rachel and Peter, you guys are the best. Say who you are in the chat so everyone knows you're my champion best friends. I would accept ghost stories that are fictional. Oh no, not fictional. Sorry, Sheep Prod. I try to do only true ones. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Before I start the book, I have ghost stories from you guys. I totally forgot. Let me read these. I got a bunch. I got people. I love when people don't donate. When people comment their ghost stories. Um, so sheep prod. I like true ghost stories. Things that you can say what does true even mean because how do you prove it? I like stories that things people experience and they tell their story. So if there's something happened to you, something spooky of any kind of any situation, write it in a comment, and one of the last I read every comment. So send it to me on Twitter or tweet me, and then I can send you a DM, so you can send me a DM, and if it's like a long one, you can do it that way, or Instagram message me and I'll find it, and then I'll save it and I'll read it next week. Nate, what is your actual email address? I can't give you that, but Dorlaxin, can you tweet me and then I'll DM you if we haven't DM'd already. Rachel, you are amazing. Thank you so much. That was a super generous donation. Wow. Rachel gave me freaking $10, and Peter gave $5, and Chappie, you mental patient, gave $305. That's $320 so far. Wow, guys, thank you. This is amazing. I could actually pay my rent doing this, possibly. You don't do Twitter or I don't have Facebook either. Do you have Instagram? You can Instagram me. I'm trying to figure out how we can do this. To relaxing, weren't we emailing? No, we didn't email before? No, it's somebody else. All right, X, hello again. Don't worry about it, angry parent. Thank you for just being here. Oh, wow, I got 105. This is awesome. We always get so many people here. Okay, so here, let me read these ghost stories from watchers, viewers, I should say. Where are they? I emailed them to myself earlier. Are they that far down already? Okay. I haven't read this one yet, but this one's, or did I read this one? There may be typos. I may stutter, which I do a lot, and it's hard for me to read and stumble on the words. But I haven't read this, so I haven't been able to get through it. So maybe I may mess this up. So here's the first one. This one, it was a YouTube comment from Outlaws Bebop. It's hard to say how much was my imagination. I was 6. I still remember it vividly though. My dad randomly telling me later he heard it too is really bizarre. Kids are supposed to be more susceptible to supernatural experiences, so I've heard. I also had an experience. I also had a series of experiences in middle school. I believe I was 13 at the time, where a lot of weird stuff happened, but I didn't see much of anything. It was about a week long of weird stuff happening to me. It started one day after school. I was locked out of the house. I tried repeatedly to get in the front and back doors, but I eventually gave up. I was sitting on the front porch talking to my friend, waiting for my parents to get home to let me in. We both heard the deadbolt unlock. Then the doorknob turned, and the front door opened all by itself. Holy crap, shut up. We were sitting on the bottom step about 6 feet from the door as we watched it open. We were freaked out, but like the old stupid horror movie trope, we went inside to investigate. There was nothing. For the next few nights, I felt the foot of my bed slumped down in the corner, like someone was sitting there. That happens so much to people. It's crazy how often you hear this in ghost stories. And I would see an indent in the bed. Oh my God, this is how it happens. But no person or animal there. Then my 5-disc stereo, sick, would come on, change discs, and select specific songs to play at a blaring volume in the middle of the night. It's crazy how that happens all the time. Why do radios just blare and turn on? Ghosts like freaking people out. If I had any particularly violent songs on any of the discs, it would play those. If I took all the discs out or had only soothing music in the stereo, it wouldn't turn on. Finally, the last night I experienced anything, I felt the bed sink in, then go back as if whatever it was stood up, the stereo turned on, and all my covers were ripped off me. Are you serious? Dude, that's crazy. That happened in one of these. I hope it's in this book because it happened on Nantucket in a story I heard about. Oh my God, dude, this is insane. I jumped out of my bed, turned the light on, unplugged my stereo, put my covers back on my bed, and turned on my TV and stayed up the rest of the night. After that, nothing like that ever happened again. Since then, though, I suffered from sleep paralysis. Ghosts can be super annoying. Wow, that one was awesome. Outlaws Bebop. I'm pretty sure that was a YouTube comment from someone on one of the last streams, one of the last Grave Stories streams. Wow. I'm here in the chat, everybody. Crampy. I get the heebie-jeebies too. Man, and I need to say thank you again to everyone who's here. Thank you for joining me. I'm so happy you guys are actually interested in this. You make me feel wanted. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you wanted to donate, you can donate right here in the chat, or you can do it. YouTube takes a little bit of a cut, but if it's easier for you to do that, it's totally cool. Or you can do it in the link in the description. It goes right to my PayPal, the Streamlabs link. I hope these streams help you get your rent all sorted out and stuff. Been a fan of you for a while, but only subbed recently due to watching your table flip episode. Oh, well, thanks, Crampy. Thank you very, very, very much. Glad you're here. Thanks for hanging out. Don't worry about it, Paul. I'm pretty sure Paul, see, your name is Paul. I'm just glad you like to watch and come by. I know that I know everyone can't donate. It's cool. Uh, KM Genius. Where did you send me the story? Because I have a few in here. I got a bunch last week, and I just grabbed a few that I sort of kind of read. That last one was the first time I read that one. I'm glad I grabbed that one. KM Genius, let me know where you sent yours, and I will see if I have it in here. Um, oh, it says Super Chat is disabled? Really? That was supposed to be fixed. Oh, crap. I enabled it. Oh my God. I got an email this morning that says your super chat is disabled because I left my. You can. Here, let me make sure. Let me turn it on. I just got this email right here. Sorry, guys. I want that's like very essential for me to have that on. Sponsors, super chat enabled. It says it's enabled for me. You guys can't donate. That is a major bummer if that's true. Yeah, it says it's enabled. Maybe it shouldn't take. Try refreshing the stream. Super chat, Tony. Super chat is unavailable. What the heck? I need to send an email. That really blows. Oh my gosh, that stinks. Sorry, just sending a quick email because this is detrimental to me. People can't donate, but it says it's enabled. Oh, you know why? Probably because it's not connected to my PayPal, which it should, but it should be. Well, if you guys want to donate, I guess you can do it, and I'll read off everyone's donations. I'm so sorry. Why does this happen to me? My life. Um, See you, Alex. Um, oh, it was on Twitter. I think I did get it, KM Genius, then. Um, Keaton, is that the right one I should be looking for? From you sent me the Google Doc. Did you send me the Google Doc? Because I have that. Nanzilla, the Streamlabs is my PayPal. If you go to the link, just click it. You don't even need to like sign up for Streamlabs or anything. I'm almost positive. It's a way to donate to someone's PayPal without like knowing their email address. Okay, yes, Cam, I'm actually about to read yours. I do know knock knock joke, Chief. What? No, this isn't knock knock. Crap. It's just as simple and cheesy as a knock knock joke. It's a joke I made up myself in fifth grade, and I'll tell you, what's a pancake's job in a baseball game? Batter. That's my joke. I made it up. Yeah, streamhubs.com/Barnatt. I accidentally signed up to Streamhubs when I did it. LOL. Oh, I don't think you have to sign up, Evie, but if you did, I don't think it really matters. Um, Thanks, Chappie. Thanks for putting that in there. Chappie, I did get your stories. Your stories are crazy, by the way. Um, I think I'm about to read yours. All right, let me get to this now. Um, all right, so the next story. So I'm going to read user stories and then I'm going to, viewer stories. I say user, and then I read the book. This next one is from Jack Blue. Oh my gosh, $10 from Scott. Scott, I see it. I love you. Wow, freaking $10. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. I say thank you more than I probably should, but when I see other people streaming and then they get a donation, I just feel like you need to give that person a lot of attention because they just gave you money, and they'll go, "Oh, thanks, man, thanks," and like literally that's it. No, 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 no. Scott is a champion of this world who just gave me $10. Thank you, Scott. I love you. And let's not forget Champ and Chappie, who gave $300 tonight. No one ever needs to forget Champ and Chappie because he is a true hero. All right, Jack Blue Bomber. This is from, that's who sent me this story, and I think that was it was either Twitter or YouTube. I suffer from something called sleep paralysis. Know all about it. It usually only happens once a month or so. To describe it, it's a bit like waking up but not wanting to open your eyes. The thing is, you're also still half asleep, so your mind can play some strange tricks on you, depending on how imaginative you are. That can result in some fantastical or horrific things. However, the one thing that remains the same for everyone who experiences it, you can't move. So keep that in mind when I start this story off. This is a good one. I read this one. As you can imagine, this story starts off in the middle of the night, and it was during a moment where anything would make sense to me. All I cared about was going back to bed. My mind wasn't ready to be awake. I wasn't really thinking clearly. I woke up to a loud banging sound. It was a sound of the door to my bedroom. I knew the door handle to my bedroom wasn't working right, and a strong wind from an open window, or even just pressing on it from the outside, would fling it open. It hit the wall and jarred me awake. I remember thinking, oh God, it's the damn dog pushing his way into my room. I leaned forward to check it out, and sure enough, I saw a shadow of something low begin walking on all fours. I saw its hair was getting long and dragging on the ground a bit, and I thought to myself, I need to cut its hair. I lied back down and decided I would do that tomorrow. As I was falling asleep again, my mind became clearer. I started to think about the short periods of events. I hadn't owned a dog in several years. Whoa. Immediately, my heart raced and I leaned up again to look around. What was it that I saw? I figured I had imagined it because I didn't see anything. I figured I was just being a scaredy cat. A grown man shouldn't be afraid of the dark, I thought. Well, you're wrong, because I am. I'm terrified of everything. Why am I even doing this? So I just went back to bed. It must have been nothing. As I closed my eyes, I could hear something, like a raspy sound, and I could feel a warm air on my face. Someone stank haunted breath. I couldn't move. I could feel something was in front of me, breathing on my face. It was loud and it wasn't moving. I froze with my eyes shut for whatever reason. I thought if I didn't move, it wouldn't do anything to me. After what felt like 10 minutes, it stopped. I could move again. I opened my eyes and looked around to see if I could clearly make out anything in the room. I could only see a shadow in the hallway, and it looked like someone was scooting along on the floor, but it was hard to tell. I got up and grabbed something. I can't remember. Maybe it was a golf club, but I decided I needed to do something about this. I wasn't imagining it. I stood up and followed it, whatever it was. I went to my living room and saw the front door was slightly open. A breeze was coming in, so I closed it. I locked it and searched my entire house, top to bottom. I couldn't find anything. Whatever it was gone. Since then, I've been left to decide what it was. Maybe a raccoon made its way into my house, but why did it have the long hair? Maybe it was sleep paralysis, but why was I able to move around and look at first? I may never know. That's pretty cool. That's pretty spooky and interesting because he was able to move. It does not sound like sleep paralysis at all. It sounds like you had a freaking ghost in your house, Jack Blue Bomber. Thanks again, Jack Blue Bomber, for sending me that one. That was awesome. And I just got freaking $25 from Cameron. Cameron, do you want me to say your last name? I don't know if I should say everyone's last names. I don't think not everyone likes that. But I just got $25 from Cameron. Cameron is as well a champion player. Wow. Lucid, I heard there's a lot that going into lucid dreaming. Oh, like when you're walking around sleeping? Yeah, maybe. Since he has sleep paralysis, maybe he was like actually asleep and walking. Does it only show your names, not the usernames? Yeah, it shows the names when you do direct donations. I don't know why my super chat isn't working. It is activated. It says super chat is unavailable. This freaking stinks. Ah, sorry for everyone who's donating and it's not showing the usernames. It's not very fun when it's in the chat, I know. Cameron, thank you, thank you, thank you. I see you're saying sure, buddy. That's amazing of you. Chief, what are you asking? Didn't the thing kill the dog? What thing? Tyler, 7 dang ding dong dollars. Holy crap. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are great. This is amazing. I'm glad you like this show, and thank you for keeping me alive. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. When you go to your Streamlabs, I do see my username appear on the list there. Oh, okay, so there's a list. It shows everyone on the Streamlabs. At the end of the stream, I will... Oh, my gosh, dude. Loic! Loic just gave 16 bucks. Loic, you always donate so much. You and Chappie. Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. I'm going to read all the donations at the end. Wow, this is unbelievable. Okay. Let me get back to these stories. Let's get to this next one. This is another viewer one. Merrill. I don't know if Merrill wants to... Oh, actually, they think they added their name. Merrill Keaton. These have titles. I think this is 2 stories Merrill sent me. And then that's it for... yeah, these... I'm going to read Merrill's 2 stories, and then I'm going to get to the book. Thank you, everyone who's watching. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm glad you're here. You're my best friend. Okay, Merrill. A haunting experience. In 2014, I was serving as a missionary in Rancho Cucamonga, California. As missionaries, we don't get to choose where we stay for the next few months. We're just assigned. And in this case, my companion and I were told we'd be staying at the house of Mr. Wilson. Here, let me do a thing real quick. Hello, camera 2. Mixing it up a little. Why don't we? My companion and I were told we'd be staying at the house of Mr. Wilson. His wife had died about a month prior, so we figured it would be good to have some company in the house now that he was alone. I figured it would be the same as any other place I had stayed in, but I was in for an awakening. Man. The first day I arrived at the house, I realized it was going to be a long stay. It was dark and quiet inside, and half the light bulbs seemed to be out. Mr. Wilson was your typical old man, a little bit strange but friendly enough. He led us upstairs and down a long dark hallway, past a couple of locked doors till we got to our room. It was a small, old-fashioned, decorated room and jammed full of old stuff that belonged to his late wife. We got to work clearing out the stuff and putting it into the garage and his bedroom. We didn't have a place for everything. We moved out, so he told us to leave it in the hallway and he'd put it into the locked rooms. We offered to do it for him, but turned us down and said he would do it after we left. I thought it was strange considering we were right there ready to do it, and he was a fragile old man who could possibly not even lift some of the objects. We left them in the hallway near the locked door. Eventually, we left the house and went back to work. And we left the house and went to work. We got back late, and I could tell there was something different about the house. The lights were all off, and I figured Wilson was asleep. As we walked upstairs, I began to get chills, and the whole house emanated a strange, unnerving presence. Oh my God, dude. We walked down the hall to our room in the darkness because we were still unfamiliar with where the light switches were. After reaching our room, I felt a little relief. It was almost like we were... the smoke machine. It was almost like we were a kid and would flip off the lights just to... Wait, what? I lost myself. After reaching our room, I felt a little relief. It was almost like when you were a kid and would flip off the lights just to sprint at full speed and leap into bed to avoid the invisible demon that would catch you in the darkness. This sounds stupid, but I still do that. And I'm 37. Except I was 20 years old now and wasn't afraid of the dark. Well, I'm 37 and I am. But that same fear forced me out of the darkness into a safe refuge to escape the eerie shadows of the hallway. We planned the next day and prepared for bed. Regretfully, I had to walk down the hallway to reach the bathroom. As I opened the bedroom door, I saw something that puzzled me. A light was breaking out from the crack at the bottom of the locked doors where previously there was only darkness. Oh my god, dude, something's going on. This is a movie script right here. Mr. Wilson, I called. No response. I walked up to the door and knocked. Nothing. I turned on the light in the bathroom and stared at the mirror. It was unsettling looking at the dark hallway behind me and the sliver of light from the room. As I began brushing my teeth, I watched the door. Suddenly, I saw something in the mirror. A shadow flew down the hallway, and in an instant, a face appeared in the mirror behind me. Shut up. I'm so I can't do this one. That one's messing me up. These are the stories that I think call out spirits from the other world, and then I get haunted because I'm the one voicing it and bringing them back to reality. Oh my god. A shadow flew down the hallway, and in an instant, a face appeared in the mirror behind me. The terror was gone as fast as it came when I realized it was just Sean, my companion. Oh my god, gonna give me a freaking heart attack. Dude, you scared the crap out of me, I gasped with the racing of my heart. Why? He replied. The locked room in the hallway had a light on inside, and my imagination was running wild with fear. This place is also creepy enough. As I turned around to point it out to him, my heart dropped. There was no longer any light coming from under the door. At this point, my mind went nuts with ideas that couldn't explain it. Naturally, he didn't believe me. Why would he? Lights don't turn on and off by themselves, after all. I climbed into bed that night and had a hard time falling asleep. The whole place was creeping me out, and I couldn't think of any explanation for the light. As the days came and passed, Sean and I began to have experiences that we couldn't explain. During one night, we were woken by gentle knocking coming from the wall of our room. I have had experiences with paranormal activity in the past, and this was just another to add to my list. What the? Sean whispered from the top bunk. Go look down the hallway, I replied, with a bit of nervous grumbling. He climbed off the bed and began creeping toward the door. Dude, bad idea. Bad idea. Slowly opened the door, revealing the black darkness of the hallway. There's nothing there, he said. After what seemed like an eternity of waiting in the silence, Sean closed the door and turned to go back to bed. Thud sounded on the other side of the wall, louder than ever before. I sat up and Sean spun around at inhuman speed. Our hearts were pounding. There was definitely something in the house with us, and it wanted us to be afraid. Oh my God. We spent the rest of the night sleeping with one eye open, afraid of what could happen next. The next morning, I decided to get to the bottom of all this. I asked Mr. Wilson when he usually goes to bed. I usually watch TV till 9:30, then go to bed around 10, he said. Oh, we thought we heard you knocking on the walls in the locked room next to ours in the middle of the night. I said, strange. Nope. Oh, middle of the night. I said, strange. Nope, it wasn't me. Maybe it was just a bird house. Maybe it was just a bird outside or something, he replied. Wilson didn't know anything about it. I determined that I was going to find out what was in the locked rooms. The first door had a digital mechanical combination lock on it. The second had a key lock. I'm no detective, nor am I a professional lockpicker, but being influenced by Hollywood, I gathered some powder and dust. Oh my gosh, he did this? Powder and dusted it onto the mechanical number buttons, thinking it would be able to see what buttons the combo was. Obviously, I didn't have any luck. I spent my free time during the next couple of weeks writing down and trying all possible combinations for the door. Oh my gosh. It was one afternoon while taking lunch that I began punching in numbers for probably the thousandth time. Click, 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 crack. Sean, I got it. Really? He replied as he hurried into the door. Holy crap, this guy cracked the combination. Dude, this is awesome. Wow. This is a viewer story, mind you, if you're just joining me. This is someone who watches the show and sent this to me. I think it was on Twitter or YouTube. I slowly began to open the door with a rush of adrenaline, nervous and excited for what I would find inside. I gazed upon the room and saw nothing. Well, there was stuff, but nothing that really stood out. Bookshelves, sewing machines, quilts, desks, chairs, papers, clothes. Just a bunch of junk, essentially. I turned the light on just to find out that it was burned out, which added to my curiosity as my mind flashed back to the experience I had with the light in the room previously. Yeah, that's weird. Well, I'm going to finish my lunch, Sean said. I kept looking around the room, almost amazed that I hadn't seen anything extraordinary. Then I saw it. In the top corner of the bookshelf, there was the familiar gleam of a key. Without even trying it, I knew exactly what it would open. I grabbed the key and walked to the locked door next to our room. Oh my God. The key slid into the slot and began to turn. This was it. I was going to find out what was knocking on the wall before. I opened the door and discovered the mysterious bedroom. It was eerily lit as the curtains covered the entire window except for a small crack. The light crept through the windows outside and revealed a typical looking room. The bed was made, the decorations looked like they had been untouched, almost like someone had cleaned the room and never went back in. I don't know if I revealed that I didn't find the undead corpse of wait, what? I don't know if I was relieved that I didn't find the undead corpse of Mrs. Wilson, or if I was disappointed that the room was so boring. The rooms that had plagued my thoughts for weeks were nothing. I gave up on my explorations, locked the doors, and went on with my day. This is where the story gets bizarre. Really? I thought it already was bizarre. Wow. Oh, and I just got another freaking $25 donation from Scott C. I don't know if you want me to say your last name, but Scott C. I see your donation, and I love you, and thank you so much. You guys are making my dreams come true. This is amazing. Okay, let's get back to this. This is where the story gets bizarre. A few nights later, we had come back for the day and finished planning. I was looking for a paper I had put in a drawer in our room. I pulled the entire drawer out, set it on my lap, and began rummaging through it. I couldn't find it, and I looked in the hole in the dresser where the drawer had been. Then I saw something sitting deep in the back. It wasn't my paper. In fact, I didn't know what it was. I reached in and pulled it out. It was a box of purple tights. Yeah, just stockings, pantyhose type things. Hey, check out what I found, I said to Sean. I pulled them out of the box. I thought it would be funny if I slipped them over my pants and walked around like a superhero in tights. I went up to the mirror in our bedroom to admire my comical genius. At that moment, I saw something that I would never forget. I have goosebumps. In the mirror, I watched in horror as the bedroom door behind me was slammed shut. Some unseen force, oh my gosh, so many goosebumps. Some unseen force in the hallway obviously was not pleased with me. Holy crap, did you see that? Sean shouted. No sooner than he said that, I was frantically ripping the tights off my pants and throwing them in the trash. I yanked open the door to the hallway to see nothing there. No windows open, no fans, nothing. I was convinced that we were being haunted. Yeah, you were. Guaranteed. We soon got into bed and turned off the light. Night rolled on. The room was dimly lit by the faint moonlight. Oh gosh, some kid outside just freaked me out. The room was dimly lit by the faint moonlight from the window. It had been about an hour since the door incident, and we were both on edge, nervously trying to sleep. Then we heard the chilling sound of what pierced the silent darkness. Oh my gosh, what was that? Sean immediately pulled the chain to turn on the ceiling fan light. My eyes had been picked up off the table and thrown. What? Oh, sorry. My keys had been picked up off the table and thrown onto the floor next to my bed. No. Now I was panicked. If I wasn't scared before, I was now. What was doing these things? How was this even possible? Why was this happening? What does it want from us? I can tell you, it wanted you to leave. The ghost was throwing your keys at you, telling you to get out of there. That lady was not happy that you put on her tights. Unanswerable questions filled our minds. I wasn't about to go back to sleep without some form of defense, so I did what any sane man would do. I grabbed the flashlight as a weapon and fortified my bottom bunk with a wall of pillows. I stayed in the corner of my bed next to the wall with my flashlight, looking back and forth, searching for any sign of paranormal activity. I wasn't sure if Sean was awake or asleep by this point, but I felt like every quivering breath I took was loud enough to keep anybody from falling asleep. As the night went on, my fears began to fade, and I got too tired to stay awake. I began to slowly fall asleep. Out of nowhere, in a sudden attack, my entire body was hurled into the wall next to my bed. What? Keaton, what was that? Sean shouted to me. I have no idea. I just got thrown into the wall. I was almost asleep and something attacked me. My whole body lifted off the bed and smashed into the wall, I shouted. Oh my God, this is insane. This is the craziest story I've ever read. The light was left on. We sat in our room waiting for the next attack. Hours passed and nothing appeared. I thought for sure the spirit would show itself and finally force us out of the house. I wrote down the entire experience as I sat awake. There was nothing we could do, no explanation I could offer. Sean was just as scared and confused as I was. The rest of the night was quiet and nothing else happened. We figured we had upset the ghost that dwelt in the house, maybe an angry ghost of Mr. Wilson's wife. Over the next month, the house was still. The paranormal experiences had stopped and life went on. I never went back into those locked rooms. I was ultimately transferred out of the area and never ended up going back. Several months later, I talked to the missionary who took my place. I brought up the experience that I had and he went pale. He too had paranormal experiences in the house and told me that they were moved out because the house was not fit for missionaries to live there. To this day, I can still feel the fear that ran through my body as I witnessed what was for sure a haunted experience. Holy crap. That is one of the best ghost stories I've ever had, and it's from a viewer. Wow. That is from, we gotta get back to the top. That was a long one. Merrill Keaton. Merrill Keaton, if you're watching, that was amazing. Is Merrill here? Back in the chat now, everyone. Wow. Seriously, people should look up 411 if you haven't yet. Some of the creepiest stuff I've heard in a long time. Nye Smith deals with missing people in the woods. I pretty much just started Yoda. I was just reading viewer stories. Yeah, I don't know why the super chat isn't working. But you can donate to my Streamlabs in the description. That's what people have been doing tonight. I just tried to fix it. I clicked on I got an email today that said your super chat's down, and then I fixed it, and it's still not working. Super chat is unavailable. It shouldn't be unavailable. I don't understand why it's saying that. All right, let me take a quick break, and I'm gonna try to see if I can fix the super chat. Everyone, stay tuned. I'll be right back. Hang tight.
Samsung Galaxy S9 and get one free.
back. Hello. Why does the smoke machine stop working? Now the smoke machine's haunted. Oh, there it goes. Smoke machine's haunted. Only explanation. All right, guys. I fixed the super chat, I think. You may have to update your app on your phone or, like, I don't know, close it on your computer and open it again. It worked for me. I went through the settings, made sure it was enabled. It says it's enabled. Sorry if you're not able to donate, but thank you for wanting to. Thank you to everyone who has donated. And if you can't get the super chat working, there's a direct donation that goes right to my PayPal in the Streamlabs using the Streamlabs link. And I will thank everyone who donates to me. I will not let you go unseen. Evie, thank you for that $2. Loic, thank you for the $2. Chappie, thank you for that $4.99. Your classic $4.99 trademark. Todd, thank you for that $2. Nathan Barnatt, thank you for that $2. You're welcome. All right, let's get to the book, huh? Okay, cool. Evie, you closed it and opened it and it worked. Chappie, you're done. You can't donate anymore. You donated. Chappie, for everyone who's joining, donated $300 earlier in one go. I saw a figure in the smoke a little while ago. I'm not joking. Yeah, it was me. I was walking through the smoke. Don't say that. Don't say that. Okay, cool. Thanks, Chicken Slayer. Thank you for letting me know. You guys are the best. I love you. I love you. I love you. We all need to hang out. I have so many ideas for live tours. I want to do a live tour where I just go and tell ghost stories and we all like sit around and get freaked out. And if people who come have their own ghost stories, I want to type it up. I would read it, or they can tell it at the show, the tour. I just want to do so many things. I want to do a Nathan dance tour where I just go and dance with everybody to like all of my favorite songs. That's something I'm actually planning right now, and on Monday I have a meeting about it, starting the tour. I have a lot of things I want to do. I just want to hang out with everybody and party, and I love ghosts and dancing. That's why I want to do that. All right, putting my new mic to work. Hope you guys are appreciating this excellently clear audio. It's the best audio you will ever hear from anything of me ever. KM Genius, I hope you will join me doing the Sick Cat. Everyone, I will probably be coming near you, where I'll be going to a lot of places. So wherever you are in the United States, I'll probably be coming near where you are. The brand is Audio Technica. I think it's kind of just like a whatever generic audio mic brand. It's not like the best, but it's pretty good. My birthday is 2 hours before Halloween. Oh, really, Dorlaxon? Dang, you're haunted. You must be. All right, cool. Gotta get back to the stories. Oh, my friend Becky's watching. Hey, yay. All right, cool. So I read the viewer stories. Thank you, everyone who sent me stories. Now, why does it do that? Why does it do that? I don't like when it flashes that stupid thing. There we go. See, that one then just cuts. It's supposed to freaking blend. It's supposed to fade like that. Whatever, who cares? All right. Let's get to the book, shall we? Thank you for everyone for sitting here and listening. There's a lot of those viewer stories were awesome. I read that one. This one's called Seth. Did I read that one? That's my brother's name. I feel like I should have read that one already, but I don't know if I did. I'll have to remember as I go. Okay, so this is from Nantucket Ghosts, one of my favorite books. This is what I've been reading most of the stories from. This one is called Heaven is 2 weeks away. Ooh. Powell. We're talking about Jansen Powell, Mark Schofield said, crossing his legs and settling back in his chair. Mark's wife, Grace, poured 3 glasses of lemonade, he continued. My former wife bought our house on Bloom Street from Jason Powell, who was... Oh, I can't read words. We all know that. I'm the worst at this. Why am I even doing this? So this is a real story told to the author of the book. For those who don't know and are new here, the author collects these stories. She sits down with people, and then they tell her this story, and then she just basically transcribes their conversation. So a lot of this is from the perspective of the person talking to her. My former wife bought our house on Bloom Street from Jason Powell, who was a psychiatrist in New York City. I have a landscaping business and worked for him for 10 years before, and 10 years before he sold the house. He was a good man, but he had a difficult marriage and an unlucky wife, and he loved his gin. He moved off island for a good several years ago and had a serious hip operation. He was mixing his booze with painkillers, I guess, and he died in his sleep. No one knew the circumstances. He was alone at the time. Mr. Schofield's comfortably creased face is accented by his eyes, which are an authoritative, almost audible blue. This is the author talking about the man telling her the story. About a week after Powell died, I was awakened at 3 a.m. We keep a night light in the bathroom adjacent to our bedroom, and by its light I could see someone in a long granny nightgown walking by the bed toward the bathroom. I automatically stretched my foot out to check for Grace. She was fast asleep next to me. Oh, dude. I hate the dark and snapped the light in a hurry. Whatever it was disappeared. It wasn't until some time later that I remembered that Powell used to wear those old-fashioned flannel nightshirts in the winter. The next night, at the same time, I was awakened again. I felt my face lifted up and turned toward the ceiling, and there was Jason's face above me. He was smiling as if to reassure me. I was terrified and turned on the light and woke Grace up. Again, there was nothing there. The third night, I was woken up again at 3 a.m., this time by a loud, smoke machine, by a loud thumping in the bathroom. Grace was still asleep. I listened for a while, then got myself together, went to the bathroom, and slowly opened the door. As I snapped on the light, the noise stopped and a cold wind poured past me out the door. The window had been shut all night and was still tightly closed. I have to admit I was scared. I had never had an experience like that before. Well, that's a sentence. This next part sounds funny, but I didn't know what else to do. In the morning, I went all through the house talking to Jason. You old bastard, I said. I know you're here. I know you're not happy with what's going on. You see, we were friends, and I know he loved life and didn't mean to kill himself. Many people thought it was a suicide, but I'm not sure it was. As I see it, I might have been I might have been a kind of interpreter for him. He was tormented, I think, by the way he had died and needed to get in touch with someone who was his friend. At any rate, I walked all through the house just talking to him, and he never came back. I've thought about that experience a lot since then. It relieved me in a way. No matter what anyone says, I now have no doubt about a world beyond. When you talk about ghosts, you're dealing with a side of life that isn't scientific or logical. But then dying and disappearing for good doesn't seem very logical either. When my first wife died many years ago, I remember feeling that she was back in the house with me for about a week after she died. Another week later, I was just as sure she was gone to wherever you do go. Powell also made his appearance within 2 weeks after his death. There seems to be a transition period, as if heaven is 2 weeks away. Oh that's a kind of cool. That's cool, and that's the name of the story. Heaven is 2 weeks away from Nantucket Ghost. That's a cool story. Not too scary, but kind of just neat, and like just gives you some insight into possibly what may happen when you do kick the bucket. Why isn't my merge working? That one works. What the heck? This next story is called, I'm just going to keep going. I'm not looking at the chat right now, so thank you to everyone who's watching. I'm going to continue with this story that is titled Seth. That is the name of my brother. So here, let me do an intro in case this is a good one and I end up throwing it on YouTube as its own video. Welcome to Grave Stories from a Grave Digger, although I should change the title to Welcome to Grave Stories from the 37-year-old terrified man who used to dig graves and is glad he isn't, but also doesn't really want to read the stories because they're super scary. This story is titled Seth, also the name of my brother. The Unitarian Church on Orange Street was built in 1809 as the Second Congregational Meeting House Society Church. Its bell was brought from Lisbon, Portugal, in 1812 by Captain Thomas Carey. The tower has seen 3 clocks. The first was installed at the time of construction, the second in 1823, and the present one in 1881. In 1884, the interior was modernized by the architect F.B. Coleman, who set in a tall, elegant side windows and added a vestry and kitchen downstairs. The Trompe l'Oeil wall painting is attributed to Carl Wendt, an artist who had previously decorated the Treasury Building in Washington. The church has a cheerful, proud, shingling countenance. Its classical structure brings to mind the child's game. Here is the church, here is the steeple. Open the doors. Blah, blah, blah. The famous steeple located on the front of the building is a landmark visible from 5 miles at sea. The bell, now electric, strikes every hour around the clock with an additional 52 strokes for reveille at 7 a.m., for lunch at noon, and for curfew at 9 p.m. Francis and Ellen Morgan are the janitor and housekeeper for the church. Mr. Morgan, at work in the church one morning, related the following story. I was in here alone one winter day 6 or 7 years ago and was working away in the vestry when 2 kids I knew tapped on the window over there, wanting to come in. It was a cold, blustery day with snow outside, kind of nasty, so I let them in. I was in the kitchen, where I keep all my tools and such. I could hear the kids upstairs running and hooting and dashing back and forth the way kids do. And then I heard them clattering down the stairs and running out the front door. It slammed shut. 5 or 10 minutes later, they were back tapping on the window. When I let them back in, I said, "Why'd you go out? You knew the door was locked from outside." And they said, "Why, a man upstairs chased us out. He didn't want us up there and scared us." I knew there was no one upstairs, but I didn't say anything to the kids, not wanting to really frighten them. I think Seth, as we call the spirit in this church, has an aversion to kids getting into deviltry. It's not really surprising, for in the old days, most folks were very rigid about those things, and people, especially children, who were supposed to be mindful of their elders, were expected to adhere to certain codes of behavior. This spirit probably disapproves of someone running and shrieking around in the house of God. A couple of months after that, when it was a little warmer out, I brought my young grandson here one day. I took him up to the altar to show him where our minister stands, and he wanted to know if the big Bible there was God's book, and if the seat was God's seat. My grandson was asking all sorts of regular little boy questions. Then suddenly he got very quiet and just kept staring at the pulpit. He said, "I don't like that man." Oh my God. I don't like the way he looks, I don't like the way he looks. Knowing we were alone in the church, I said, "What man?" He pointed to the pulpit. I couldn't see anything, but I didn't tell him that, and we just went and did something else. Oh my gosh, I'm really freaked out right now. I don't like this. I don't like this guy. The fact that the kids are seeing him and they don't like him makes me uneasy. Oh my gosh, there's a bunch more pages. There's 2.5 more pages, almost 3 pages. Oh my gosh, what the heck is going to happen? Let's take a little break. We'll enjoy some wet water, why don't we? Oh man, this one's going to be good, I can tell already. Ay, ay, ay. A couple of months after that, when it was a little warmer. Oh, I already read that. Of course, you know about what happened with Kathy Cronin when she was still teaching in Rhode Island. Before she got her school underway here, she needed a quiet place to correct students' papers. She used to come work in the vestry, sitting over by the windows in the brightest part of the room. One day when she got through and was going home along the pathway outside, she heard a terrific bang against one of those windows. Oh, God. And looked up, saw a bodiless hand waving in a flat arc from left to right. Goodbye to her. Oh, one morning I was working in the vestry when I heard a really hard bang on one of the windows over there. This had happened to me twice before. If someone had actually gone up to the window and hit it that hard, I'm sure that blow would have driven the sash out and smashed the glass. So I said out loud, "Now be careful or you'll break it." It hasn't happened again. That's always so cool how you can like yell at ghosts and then they stop doing their nonsense. I like that. It makes me feel like I have some control from these ghosts that are haunting me, even though they know I'm a baby and they won't listen to me. Susie Jarrell, the organist, often comes in here alone, and she said she hasn't heard things in the organ loft upstairs. Nope, I can't read at all. Why do I try doing this? I can't read words. Susie Jarrell, the organist, often comes here alone, and she has said she's heard things in the organ loft upstairs. Once, when she was downstairs practicing in the vestry, she felt something pulling her toward the corner over there, near the windows. She kept looking over, but didn't see anything. I know just what kind of feeling she's talking about. There are times when I'm in here cleaning or puttering around and just know I'm not alone. Excuse me, my guts are haunted. You can feel a definite presence. Ted Anderson, our minister, came to the church in 1972. Again, what's with the 1972s? That's the year of my car. I swear the year 1972 is haunting me. If there's any coincidence in anything in these stories, we all know it's directly related to me, and I'm haunted. Only explanation. He came to the church in 1972. After he'd been here a short while, we told him that there was a spirit in the building. He laughed at the time, but one evening, he learned quick. One evening, shortly after his arrival here, he was upstairs alone, just strolling back and forth in the aisle, putting his sermon together, when he heard the repeated sound of a pencil dropping. He told us about it. My wife and I heard that many times. The first time it had happened to us, we were working in different parts of the building, and each thought the other was dropping something over and over. Finally, she called out to me, "Would you quit dropping that pencil? It's making me irritated. The upstairs is all carpeted, up and down the aisle between the pews. You shouldn't be hearing the sound of a pencil dropping on a bare floor when the floor's got carpet on it." That's always so crazy when something will happen to someone. That's what makes me think ghosts are definitely real. This guy heard a sound on his own, didn't know anyone else heard it, and then another person heard it as well, and on their own separate occasion. And people always say to me in the comments and in life, your mind plays tricks on you. There's always scientific explanations. What is the scientific explanation about hearing something that isn't possible, and then another person hearing the same thing, specific sound of a pencil, when it's not really possible and there's a carpet there? Come on, science. Explain that. Impossible. Haunted. Proved it. I think Seth is a nice spirit. It seems that he just gets a little restless sometimes, and that's when we hear him dropping things or walking up and down the hallway in the vestry. For we often hear footsteps. We call the spirit Seth because Seth F. Swift, the first minister of the church from 1810 to 1834, was at the helm here longer than anyone else. That's his portrait upstairs, painted by William Swain. His eyes follow you everywhere. About 5 years ago, I had an odd experience with a radio. Everything in the vestry had become mildewed over a damp winter. That spring, I was scrubbing it all down and painting the ceiling. It was a tedious job. One day, I brought a portable radio in with me and had it on the platform up in front. It was tuned to a station which played good, quiet, modern music. But then the announcer started playing this hard rock stuff. I didn't bother to change the channel after a couple. I didn't bother to change the channel. After a couple of minutes of that, the radio shut right off. I went up and checked the switch, but the radio was dead as a doornail, even though it had new batteries in it. Thinking that the problem might be something in the building interfering with the reception, I walked outside with the radio and it went right back on. But as soon as I walked back inside and set it down, it clicked right off again. I picked it up, took it outside again, and it went right on. I couldn't figure out what the problem was until it occurred to me that maybe Seth didn't like the music. So I switched channels until I found a nice classical station, took the radio back inside, set it down, and it played beautifully for the rest of the day. It's a funny sensation to cross paths with a spirit when you're not expecting it. But as I see it, Seth just has certain dislikes which he won't permit in the church, and that's when he manifests himself. Which reminds me, last summer we had 3 professional painters, brothers from Hingham, painting the outside of the church. They were steeplejacks too. They were almost through with the job, standing out in back, taking a rest, when the whole block and tackle rig on the roof came flying down and hit the ground between them. Whoa. Step in the wrong direction and one of them might have been killed. All 3 were astounded and scared to death. The only way that rig could have fallen was as if a person up there had loosened it. Those men do dangerous work climbing around our roofs and turrets and such, and are dependent on that rig to keep them from falling. It is always checked and rechecked, and there was absolutely no possibility, according to those men, that they could have been careless about it. They were so shaken up that they hardly ate dinner that night and couldn't wait to get the job finished and leave Nantucket. They must have said or done something that made Seth furious. Some people have the misconception that spirits don't exist, but especially on this island, they are sadly mistaken. I guess some people are scared or threatened by the idea of a ghost, but when I think about ghosts, I think about that statement made by a great leader of ours who said that there is nothing to fear but fear itself. I think almost every old house here on Nantucket that's over 100 years old has a spirit or 2 lingering on it. My God, if everyone who had a ghost in their house was willing to talk about it, you'd never get through with your project. My wife and I have a ghost in our house on Prospect Street. The house was built in the 1790s, and all the doors have deep latch fittings. Sometimes we'll be sitting alone when everything's nice and quiet and hear the latch being opened on one of the doors, and then see the door swing open. Those aren't fastenings that can free themselves in a way a modern door can if it's not shut properly. You really have to press down on the latch to get the door open, and if the latch isn't properly dropped when you shut the door, it won't stay closed. We've also heard someone walking down the stairs from the 2nd floor, or a chair suddenly falling over, or a door closing firmly by itself. Just funny little random happenings that we had nothing to do with. We don't mind. That was a pretty good one. That was Seth from Nantucket Ghosts. Wow. All right, let's go to the chat. See how you guys are enjoying the stories this evening. Oh, Becky just said, sorry I interrupted. Opening the chat. Pumpkin, you like that one? Gordon, you're scared. Power cord where everything else worked. Not sure what you guys are talking about. Oh, man. Just got another one from Cake. Thank you, Cake, for donating. Yeah, you fixed it. Played anything recently? I can't stop playing Warframe after more than 1,000 hours and almost 900 logins. Much bromance. Thanks, Cake. Thank you for your routine donations. I appreciate you donating all the time. Dang, Scab Crowley, $25? Jeez. That's a big one. Thank you, Scab. Oh my God, what's the best way to send you a story? Evie, you can either comment on one of the last Ghost videos, the Ghost streams. I check like all the comments, or you can tweet me and I'll send you a DM, and then through DM you can send it to me there if you have Twitter. Oh, I just got a message from Keaton, I read his awesome ghost stories. If you want to hear some others, let me know. They won't be quite as long or exciting, though. Keaton, I am into any story you have. Thank you for sending them to me. I love your stories I read at the top of the stream were awesome. I would like to isolate your story and make it its own video afterwards. So thank you. Also GG to knock. Yeah, that Pixels, that last ghost was kind of a jerk. The Seth ghost, grumpy guy. What was the one? Oh, it was Keaton's story that I read earlier that really freaked me out. That was like the best story of the night, I think. Possibly one of the best I've ever read. You don't really know what you're gonna get in this book. Some of them are like quick and kind of cool, and some are like just straight up amazing. All right, how's the audio sounding? I hope my new mic is doing its job. Let's see here. I think this next one I did read. Yeah, One Silver Spoon. I read that. George Cushman. This one's only William Coffin's House. Oh, we gotta read that. If you guys have been watching these streams and have been watching me read these stories, the family, the Coffin family of all names, their last name is Coffin, for crying out loud, and they all live on Nantucket, the most haunted place on earth. There's next story here after this one is called William Coffin's House. Gotta read that. They have like so much to do with all these stories. But this story, this is a 2-page one. Let's read this one, and then I'll hang out in the chat for a minute. I'll read this one, and then I'll read William Coffin's House, and then I'll hang out in the chat for a minute. Oh, then there's one called Mermaid. I think I read the Mermaid one last time, didn't I? I think I did. Oh, wow, did someone just donate it again? Oh, that was Scab. I saw your donation. Thank you again, Scab. Thank you, everyone who's donated. Thank you, everyone who's donated to my Streamlabs. Everyone who's donated in the super chat. I love you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Kick pews. You party hard. Scab, you're my best friend. You're all my best friends. Chappie, let's not forget about Champ and Chappie, everyone. Hashtag Champ and Chappie. Chappie donated over $300, but one of the donations was $300 tonight. You maniac. What the heck is going on with your brain? Thank you. I love you. I do these every week, Scab. I do. I do it once a week. I try to do them on Wednesdays, but sometimes I can't because, scheduling crap, because of life. But I try to do it every week. I have been doing it every week for the past. This is my 4th week in a row, actually. Yay! Happy 4-week anniversary, everyone. Happy 1-month anniversary, I guess. All right. This next story is titled George Cushman. I rented a small house on Prospect Street in the summer of 1945. Wow, this is an old man. The war was over, and I was there alone with my 2-year-old daughter, Betsy, waiting for my husband to come back from overseas. The island was filled with young war wives at the time. Many of the houses were boarded up. We all rode bikes to and from the store, and it was unusually peaceful and quiet. The island still had the subdued feeling that it had had during the worst of the war years. The house is a pre-revolutionary salt box with 2 front rooms, which were once used as parlors, and a larger keeping room behind. I had set up my bed and Betsy's cot in the left parlor at night. Period. At night, the street lamps illuminated the room. The house had a friendly feeling to it. Although I was only 24, I never felt lonely or comfortable there. This particular experience was an isolated incident. I had spent the evening in the keeping room with a friend. We had been talking about this and that and making argyle socks in front of the fire. My friend left at about 10 o'clock and I went to bed and fell asleep immediately. I was awakened in the night by the thump click sound of a latch being lifted. I turned over and saw a short elderly man crossing the room. He had apparently just entered by the keeping room door, for it was still swinging open behind him, and he was headed toward the other door, which opens from our bedroom into the front hall. Dressed in oilskins, he was long in the body and short in the legs. He had a swordfishman's cap on and was carrying a pail. He never gave any sign that he was aware of my presence and was halfway across the room, walking at a normal pace. When I said something like, "What are you doing in here?" As I spoke, he vanished. Dang. I knew it was only a nightmare, but I was badly shaken. I got Betsy and put her in bed with me. I curled up with the baby. I closed my eyes and eventually went back to sleep. In the morning, I noticed that the bedroom door, which I always closed at night, was open. It's possible for one of those deep latch fittings to open by itself. Oh, it's impossible for one of those deep latch fittings to open by itself. The goose flesh rose on my neck. I gathered Betsy up and went to the neighbor's house. A sensible brusque word or two was what I needed. Miss Olney Dunham was a straightforward Scandinavian woman who called a spade a spade. I told her what had happened to me and described the little man in detail. She looked at me oddly and said, "Why, George Cushman's been dead for years." Oh, that gave me big chills. That lady knew who it was. Dang, Gina. That story was called George Cushman from Nantucket Ghosts, the best book on earth. All right, I'm hoping this is going to be an amazing story. Just for the fact that this person, it's not too long, it's 2.5 pages. Let me start this like this. This next story is titled William Coffin's House, and I'm really hoping this is going to be an amazing story for the fact that the Coffin family, yes, that's their last name, is mentioned in like every one of these stories. They built like all the houses on Nantucket. So this is about the man himself and his house. Let's see what happens. Hope we make it out of this story alive. The house was built in 1808. It stood at the head of Main Street, presiding over the town until 1817, when it was moved to its present location on Union Street to make way for the new Pacific National Bank building. The house belonged to William Coffin. Mr. Coffin was a victim of the notorious 1795 robbery of the Nantucket Bank, located on the south side of Main Street near Union. The bank was the first to be established on the island and only the third in Massachusetts. It was organized by a group of people with political and financial influence in the community. Some friction was to be expected, for the stakes were high and the founders had varying opinions on how such a business should be run. No one, however, expected a conflict such as the one that soon followed. Less than 2 weeks after the bank opened, $21,000 disappeared from the vault overnight. The directors and stockholders of the bank turned against each other, and the town was racked with backbiting and gossip. The theft seemed too clean not to have been done by someone thoroughly familiar with the bank. but there was no conclusive evidence as to who had done it. Years of litigation and irreversible personal damage were followed by the confession 21 years after the robbery of a convict in New York State in a New York State prison. He was one of 3 professional burglars who had arrived in Nantucket Harbor on a sloop, done the job, and left unnoticed at daybreak. No Nantucketer had touched the money. William Coffin was the director of the bank and the one who's most active in promoting its establishment. He was a respected, though controversial, figure in the community. Many of the deals that originated in his wig shop in town caused tongue clickings and general disapproval, but Coffin was a shrewd investor who had shown himself capable of making money and was fast becoming a local political force to be reckoned with. He was in his 30s when he became involved with the bank and had already been postmaster as well as wig maker. Intelligent, ambitious, Machiavellian by nature, he was more successful than popular. Whatever his reputation had been prior to the robbery, it was certainly not improved by his indictment before the Suffolk County Supreme Court in 1797. Families had been pulled apart by anger and suspicion over the theft, and William Coffin was later to sue the actual William Coffin was later to sue and actually beat up his distant cousin Micajah Coffin. A local religious pamphlet published in 1807 declared that the inhabitants of Nantucket no longer lived together like a family of brothers. They hate and revel and persecute each other. It is hoped that when the present generation, with their prejudices and rancor, shall have passed off that stage, the generous which this is not very fun to read. The generation which succeeds will be restored to the sincerity, the good faith, and unsuspecting candor, and the brotherly affection of former times. Okay, great. In his own pamphlet written shortly after the robbery, William Coffin claimed that he had been victimized by chicancery, frenzy, and moonstruck madness. He died a bitter man. Coffin's house, this is a little too much backstory on this guy. Coffin's house is a 2.5-story federal-style building. The iron railing on the front is the one that was on the steps of the Nantucket Bank when it was robbed in 1795. The house is formal and prepossessing. One can easily imagine it standing at the head of Main Street. Peter Benchley, best identified as author of the book Jaws, oh that's cool, spent a summer alone in the house in the late 1960s. At the time, it was owned by Marjorie Mills. Oh, I've heard that name, Marjorie Mills. In Massachusetts, I've heard of her. The author had a strange experience that he says is clear to this day. Yeah, okay. Why didn't they just start here? He was in the house alone and woke up from an afternoon nap in one of the bedrooms to see a fire burning in the fireplace and an old man sitting in front of the fire in a rocking chair. Ding, here we go. Rocking gently. He had long hair and was dressed in 18th century clothing. By the time Peter was fully awake, the man had vanished. Okay, I don't know what to think about that. Maybe he was dreaming. There was no fire and the chair was still. Benchley is convinced that what he saw was not a dream. Okay, guess it's a ghost. Thank you for clarifying that. Marjorie Mills, who had loaned him the house as a summer workplace, was not surprised by his experience. She said that she had reason to believe the house had ghosts, but the details of her story have been lost, and she is no longer alive to recount the tale. In 1970, Mr. and Mrs. John Tanner bought the house. Miss Tanner, who has since passed away, said in 1979 that it had been a peaceful house with the exception of a few inexplicable happenings. Excuse me. In early spring, just after they had moved in, Miss Tanner was cleaning in the kitchen when she heard a crash from the library next door. She ran into the room and found that all the books from the middle shelf of a small standing bookcase were on the floor. Ghost tape books. The bookcase, enclosed on 3 sides, has sturdy wooden shelves that lift out of adjustable metal brackets. She knelt down and examined the middle shelf, which was still securely in place. The case would have to have been tipped forward in order for those books to fall, which would have emptied at least the top shelf too. Alternatively, someone would have had to reach in with a strong arm to sweep all the books off the middle shelf. A friend later suggested that she should have looked at the books themselves for an answer to their odd behavior, but a surprised Miss Tanner simply reshelved them and went back to the kitchen. She didn't remember what the specific titles were, for they were in the house when Tanners bought it and have since been sold. Several years later, Miss Tanner woke up at 4 a.m. to a loud whirring sound. She said it sounded exactly like a city street cleaner's truck. She put on her bathrobe and went downstairs, only to find the empty electric blender in the kitchen buzzing away at high speed. The machine was a new and expensive one that had been used only 2 or 3 times. Miss Tanner was fascinated, for the appropriate push-button controls were indeed down. Whoa. She wondered if a short circuit or electrical surge could have turned it on and pulled in the button. That, however, seemed doubtful, and the Tanners began to joke about a resident ghost. This is the end of the story here. A third occurrence was even more puzzling. The guest bedroom upstairs had twin 4-poster beds with detachable urn-shaped knobs on the tops. The knobs were hand-turned and distinctive shape. Miss Tanner was cleaning the attic one day and came across a familiar-looking knob tucked away in a box of buttons, screws, and household extras. She brought it downstairs. To her amazement, found that it was one of the 8 knobs to the beds. She had no idea how long the knob to the bedpost had been missing, for the guest room had been closed up for several months. The Tanner's ghost experiences might be passed off as some natural explanation. Many residents in town, however, will mention the house on Union Street when asked about a Nantucket ghost. It seems that generations of owners have murmured sotto voce to neighbors and friends about goings on in the house. The building has a reputation for being slightly out of the ordinary, but then its original owner was no ordinary man. That story was not very good. Sorry, everybody. I'm not very into that one, but you never know until you read them. And sometimes you just gotta figure it out. Back in the chat, everybody. Hey, how's it going? So many comments since I've left. 113 people watching. That's pretty good. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I've been into horror movies forever. That scared me like the place did. Sean, are you telling a cool ghost story in the comments? Some spiritualists believe water attracts spirits. Yeah, I've heard that. Chappie, that comment isn't to me, is it? Fix Electronics, getting the CDL and checking the Odessa TX. I think you guys are all talking about something. I wasn't sure if you were talking about my mic or something. Places near the ocean, Sean O'Neill. Places near the ocean are haunted for sure. I used to stay at a place in Stonington, Connecticut with my ex-girlfriend, and some weird stuff would happen down there. I think ocean towns are some of the older towns because, you know, people use the ocean for like ports and getting, you know, goods, and people tend to live near the ocean to be connected to the rest of the world. So some of the older towns are near the ocean. So I think that's possibly why, because, you know, old towns have more history. Scab, holy crap, another freaking $15. Dang, dude. Dang. Spook it up, dude. You're spooking up the super chat. Dang, you're haunting me with those dollar bills. I am sinking and linking 3 times over with you. And the other one from earlier. Dang, Twitch H. I've been binge watching your videos all week with much enjoyment, and now glad to catch you live. Love the stories. Keep being you, man. You're awesome. You're awesome, Twitch. Thank you for that freaking sinking and linking donation. Wow. Thank you very, very much. You guys are awesome. I've gone to bed just listening to this in the background. Ghost stories equal good for sleep. Cake. A bunch of people have told me that. A lot of people have said that they listen to this while they're falling asleep. I'm happy that you guys are listening to it in any way at any time. If I can recommend watching it on your TV, a lot of people have sent me pictures of them, like, of their TV and like their entertainment center, and like they have this up on the TV. I think this would be a good, I would personally love to watch someone reading ghost stories on my TV on my couch and just like eat snacks and watch and get freaked out. And I've had many people send me pictures of that. Not saying you have to if that's inconvenient for you, but I suggest doing it in a comfortable way. Yeah, Troy, Sega, freaking thanks, dude. I'm guessing you saw the new Sonic Mania Plus commercial that Sega did that I was in. Oh, nice, Cake. Awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying it. The Pixels, nice. I'm glad you're doing it that way too. Who is it that always tells me they drink whiskey when they watch this? I imagine them being super comfortable just sipping whiskey in like a giant sofa chair watching the ghost stories. Pixels, is that you? It's somebody that comments regularly. Pixels, you're not a moderator? I'll make you a moderator. Pixels, now you're a moderator. What is it? Nathan, did you decide to reference that old Sega versus Nintendo video, or was that Sega's decision? Pumpkin, that was all Sega. That whole commercial was their idea, and then they asked me if I would like to be the salesman. And of course, I lost my mind and said yes, yes, yes. I love Sega, and I've made some friends over there because Keith and I also have an extreme love for Sega, and fate has been good to me and brought me close to Sega, and now I get to do things with them. It's awesome. It's cool to be able to do things for things that you really like Macbeth shoes. I loved Macbeth shoes. I wore them all the time, and then they saw that I wore them in my dance videos, and they started sending me free shoes. That was amazing. And then they made me my own custom shoe, and I got to, oh, actually I did. I designed it, and I could put my signature on it. People were asking earlier that is no longer available, but I'm just referencing it because it's cool when you do things that you like, and then it like works in a great way, and then you get to like, I don't know what I'm actually saying here, but I'm just trying to say it's cool when things work out in a good way, and you get to do things that you enjoy with things that you enjoy, like Skittles, like Skittles. I love Skittles, so I made those commercials, and then Trail became spokesperson. But I still need to get Trail to have his own television commercial. That's still in the works. Not going to give up on that. I'll do that for hundreds of years until it happens. Juice, are you saying that I was a gravedigger? Because I was. Are you asking, telling? Did someone ask? I was so stoked when I saw it in the video, man. Did such a good job. Thanks, Pumpkin. I don't love my performance, but I'm very critical of myself, and I would have liked to have done some things differently. There was a lot of information. I had to get it out fast because it was a lot of dialogue, but we wanted to keep it moving. I just wish my delivery was a little different on some of the lines. It wasn't as fast because it can feel rushed and affect the actual accenting of each word and sentence. And I wish I had sort of slowed down a little way and just accented some of the lines slightly differently and done some different inflections, I guess. I mean, I get very particular and analyze literally every syllable of a word that I deliver. And it was also a lot of dialogue to even remember in a single take. So, Chicken, I'm in the new Sonic Mania Plus commercial. Go to Sonic the Hedgehog's YouTube channel. You'll see it. They loaded it yesterday, I think. No, it went up Monday. It like freaking blew up. It got like 300,000 views in like no time. Thanks, Pixels. I won't. You don't either. I hope all of you continue with your dreams, whatever they may be. That's really the only reason to be on Earth, is just to do what you love and never stop. So don't waste any second on this planet. Has anything spooky happened to you recently? No, X. Nothing really as spooky has happened to me. I want to hear more personal ghost stories from you or your brothers. So, X, I will tell some, I guess they're sort of personal stories. The ones, my book light is dying. I need to get a new battery for this thing. The one So next personal ghost story that I'm going to tell will be. Now, I'm not going to tell it today. I think I'm going to try to tell it next week. They're going to be ones from my parents because a lot of stuff has happened to my parents in Massachusetts, and there are things that have happened like when I was around and in the house I just can't remember. My parents are better at remembering, and they said they're going to type it all out and write it up for me so I can then read it. My mom and dad had a really good ghost experience at a place called the Wayside Inn. You guys should look it up. There's a lot of ghost stories from this place. It's an old inn in Massachusetts called the Wayside Inn. My parents go there on their anniversary like every year. Sometimes they stay over. A lot of times they just go for dinner. But this story took place on a year they went and stayed over at the inn. There's only like 2 bedrooms in the place. It's a very small old inn. And there's a ghost of a woman there, and some pretty crazy stuff happened. And my dad is a very logical guy, and the things happened to him. The big thing happened to him, and he like freaked out. I won't tell it now because I won't do it any justice. I'll wait till my mom and dad type it up, and then I'll read that. But I told some of my previous ghost stories already. I don't know if you saw the video that I have on. I put up like last week or whatever. That was my personal ghost story. Involving the doorknob when my girlfriend was sleeping over. Dang, Wesley and Pumpkin. I just got a direct donation for 20 freaking bucks. Oh, that's Chappie again. Chappie, another $20. Chappie. I can't say the words thank you hard enough, loud enough, deep enough, or enough to you. You've donated so much to me. I am glad that you like my dripping lips and whatever I do. Thank you, Chappie. Another $20. And come on, man, Pumpkin, you're joining the party. This is unbelievable. You will regret your inactions the most. That's true. I agree with you. Just do what you want when you want. If it's a positive thing, that is. Don't hurt anyone, obviously, but follow your dreams and do everything you've ever dreamed of, and you will be happy. Can't waste your time around here. To all you kids out there, what are you saying there, Pumpkin? Just some advice from an old fart. Oh, it's good advice, Pumpkin. I'm glad you're here. Roken roll leg. Dang. Hey, guys. I'd love to be around, but can't. Love you, Nathan. Keep it coming, and I'll get some of those creepy 20s to 50s stories transcribed soon. Thank you, Roken. Thank you. That's an awesome donation. Thank you very, very, very much. This is unbelievable. Dude, that was such a scary story with your GF and the creaking. Oh, I'm glad you liked it, Guam Tech. Thank you. Yeah, it was really weird when it happened. The scariest part was when I started realizing, nope, it's not the cat. It's not Seth. Oh my God, who the heck did it? And I don't know if I told you guys. I need to do it. I guess I could retell. Sorry for everyone who heard this. No, I did tell it. I told it last week, and I didn't. I need to load it. I told it before. The one with the steps running up and down the stairs in my mom and dad's house when Seth and my mom were making Christmas cookies, and I was playing Sega Saturn. That one I told last week, and I'll load that as an individual video. Hello, Lornell. I heard an inspirational story about a woman with cancer who knew she only had 1 year to live and still finally got her driver's license because it was her lifelong dream. Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. I love that story. Yeah, do what you can when you can. I remember Skittles is really going like 5 years ago. Thank you, Rich. I'm glad you like. And remember, Trail Luaus. I'm actually going to film a new trail video. I have 2 new trail videos. One big time video. It's going to be like a legitimate big video. It's going to look great. And then a standard garbage trail video with a bunch of ads. You know, I'm going to do some new trail stuff very soon. My hair's getting long right now, so I'm going to take advantage of that and do some trail Luaus. See you, Roken Leg. Thank you, Roken Roll Leg. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the donation. You're my best friend. You're all my best friends. Every single person here is my best friends. All right, cool. I'm going to get to another story now because that's what we're here for. Becky, are you still here? Is my friend Becky here? I don't know if she's in here. She was here. All right. I don't know why my blending isn't working. See, it just cuts. It's supposed to do... It's supposed to look like that when it cuts, but it doesn't do it. and I don't know why. I hate it. It drives me nuts. Whatever. Stupid program isn't working right. Alright, I think I read Mermaid. Oh, I did. This one was awesome. I need to load this one as its own individual video. That one was good. Very large chin. I read that. Let's go to the back of the book. Ooh, a nocturnal twirl. This is like way back. I haven't gone to the back of the book. That's probably where the spooky ones are. Heart. Okay, heart. How many pages? Oh, that's a long one. Sometimes the long ones you think, oh, it's got to be good because there's so much freaking information. But sometimes they just tell so much backstory that's just not even necessary to hear. This is a long one too. Under the scallop shells. All right, this one is called a nocturnal twirl. I'm gonna read this, and then I think I read that Quakers one. Let's see if this one's any good. Come on, thing. This story from Nantucket Ghosts is titled A Nocturnal Twirl. As long as I have my cup of tea after work, I'm fine. Until then, I'm a bear. Anita and I get home a little after 5 and go right in and put the kettle on. This is English tea. We make it good and strong. Here you are. Can't have it without milk and sugar. I work for the Nantucket Police Department, and Anita's a librarian at the Athenaeum. Anita's a stackpole, you know. She's a 12th generation Nantucketer. Ed Dugan leaned forward and formed a generous triangle of forearms, hands, and a mug in the kitchen table. What? Why does those words not make sense to me? Steam rose from the apex. Anita smiled. Yes, I'm part Gardner, part Swain, part Coffin, part Starbuck, part Folger. Oh, these are all the families. This lady's like from all the families on Nantucket. The genealogical charts are wild when you get back that far. A husband and a wife in the 19th century might have been related to each other 4 or 5 times over. The family lines crossed and recrossed each other in the dizziest way. I've often wondered how many 12th and 13th generation Nantucketers are left on the island. That is, people who are descended from the original 9 settlers. I guess we're what you'd call an endangered species. Being a native gives one definite coloration. You carry with you a sense of belonging, a clearly defined feeling of origin. Of course, the flip side of the coin is that islanders are afraid to live anywhere else, which isn't right. I feel bad for the young ones who've only been as far as Hyannis and never experienced any other kind of life. Hyannis is right next to where I used to live. I lived in Mashpee, which was next to Hyannis, and Hyannis is the mainland. That's part of Cape Cod. Massachusetts is shaped like this, and this arm is Cape Cod. Nantucket is right over here, kind of where the lantern is off of Cape Cod. Just a little history for you guys, geographical history of Massachusetts. Now I lost my spot. I will never find it again. Great. Why did I do that? Okay. Ed and I have lived all over. He was in the Air Force for 22 years, and when he retired at the age of 41, we moved to Panama for 14 years. We'd stay down there during the winter and come back to Nantucket to work and see the family every summer. Yep. I was in the military for a long time, and then I became a beach bum. It was great. We had a scuba diving business in Panama. Ed went on. You talk about a tropical paradise. We spent quite a bit of time in the little islands that sit off the coast. There are 300 between Colon and Colombia. Some are only inhabited by the Cuban Indians. Some are absolutely deserted. We got very close to the Indians. when we lived on San Bias, the local chieftain had forbidden his tribe to use any diving equipment because two young men had gotten the bends and died while diving. So that's where Anita and I came in. The chieftain was happy to have somebody else take over what looked to him like an insane activity. I'll never forget the day a boatload of tourists landed from one of the big ships, and a man in the launch pointed at me and yelled, "Hey, hey!" I thought at first we'd gone berserk. "I know you," he said. "You're the miller on Nantucket. You're the goddamn miller." And so I was. I ran the mill from 1977 to 1980. Anita worked with me for 2 of those years, and that's where we ran into a little ghost activity. Now, you know that the mill was built in 1746. It was designed and put together by Nathan Wilbur. Come on. Why is the guy's name Nathan? This is clearly going to be the ghost. This is the second time this has happened. People are always named Nathan in these ghost stories, and all of them take place in 1972 when my car was made. I am haunted. It's the only explanation. Why is this happening to me? Nathan Wilbur, a Nantucket seaman who had been to Holland and seen what wind power was really capable of. He had a vision, and he was a master craftsman. Yeah, I know, I'm pretty good with my hands. The result was a building that is now one of the most extraordinary 18th century mills still open and operated in the United States. The mill is a tapered octagonal structure that rises 50 feet from the ground. All the joints were tightly dovetailed, and I don't believe there's a right angle to be seen anywhere in that building. Wilbur used hickory pins instead of nails to secure the framework. A hole had been cut for each pin before it was driven into place. He worked with white oak beams and I read words like Christopher Walken sometimes. He worked with white oak beams and deck planking salvaged from shipwrecks. Well, that's cool. The millstones Wilbur used were granite and weigh about 2,000 pounds each, which is relatively light for a grinding stone. His was the first mill in New England in which the stones were set on the second story. All right, they gave him a little bit too much backstory on this guy. The challenge for Nathan Wilbur must have been in putting the project together because he sold the mill the following year to Eliakim Swain and John Hay. They sold it in 1750 to Timothy Swain. Timothy Swain was an eccentric man. He was either a devoted miller or a poor sleeper, for when the winds were favorable, he would run the mill at night. People would say that Swain was out doing a nocturnal twirl. One morning, the town woke up to find the mill grinding away at dawn and Timothy Swain dead inside. Whoa. He had died, apparently, of natural causes. Charles Swain ran the mill for many years after Timothy, and Charles' grandson, Nathan Swain, owned it until 1828. Another Nathan. What the heck? I don't like it. Don't like it. It must have been in bad shape because in that year, Jared Gardner, who lived next door, bought the mill for $20. What? For firewood. Gardner probably never had an intention of chopping it up after purchasing it. He repaired the mill and operated it himself until 1855. George Enos bought it and ran it until 1864, when it went to Captain John Murray, and then to a Portuguese man by the name of John Francis Sylvia. The mill ran sporadically during the 1870s and then sat silent until 1897 when it was sold at auction. Oh my gosh, this is really boring. Everyone assumed it would be torn down. It was bought by Miss Caroline French, a summer person who turned around and gave it to the Nantucket Historical Association. And they've taken good care of it. Great. Who cares? Get to the ghosts. Running the mill is a tricky thing, and it's exhausting work if you do it right. I had a feel for it, which some millers never do. I really don't want to read this. The mill stuff. How many pages are there? Sorry, guys. You never know what you're gonna get. Okay, let me see. I think it's getting juicy here. The mill itself can be a very dangerous mechanism, and you have to stay on top of it. You need to be continually adjusting the beam, which in turn raises and lowers the grinding stone a thousandth of an inch to compensate for a wind shift. Oh my gosh, this is so not interesting. This is just a story about a mill. Okay. Sorry, I'm just scanning it, trying to see where it starts getting good. Okay, here it goes. It's starting to get good here. When the mill is running on an even keel, you can tie off the beam, kind of like cleating the tiller. When doing that, I discovered something very odd. As soon as I got to the other side of the room, directly across from the beam, the mill would suddenly pick up speed and I'd have to go running back. It seemed that I could make this happen. The mill would be running in a good steady wind without needing any adjustment, and I'd walk exactly to the halfway point by the stairs and the mill would take over. It happened literally hundreds and hundreds of times. Anita and I used to laugh about it. I could do it in front of a crowd of people. I'd show them where I was going to walk and what was going to happen. When I got over there, it always happened just as I predicted. Wow. So I'm guessing this is a mill that has, like, you know, the spinning water wheel, or a spinning, I guess it's a wind wheel, like a windmill, right? It's a windmill, I guess. It was almost as if there were someone watching over the mill, someone who shifted the works to get you back over there on the job when you moved a dangerous distance from your duties. I was never one to believe in spirits, but I knew what made that mill run, and I knew there was no physical explanation for that sudden shift every time I walked near the area by the stairs. Believe me, I tested that phenomenon in every way I could think of. I would tie off the beam and walk around fairly close by for as long as I liked, but as soon as I got to that spot halfway across the mill, bam, it would happen again. We did have one other very odd experience. There was a gap as big as a man's fist in the turning radius at the top of the mill. It's a spot where the oak has warped. The gap has to be kept lubricated, and we always did it by stuffing spermaceti candle nubs into the hole. The hollow ran southwest to northeast, so when the blades were east and west, when the mill was sitting right, we'd stuff nubs in there to keep everything going smoothly. We'd ask women to save their spermaceti candles nubs, and we'd always had a good sackful. Well, one night I put in maybe 50 nubs before locking it up. I turned the mill once or twice to mash them in, then shut everything down and switched on the alarms. The next morning, Anita and I came in and climbed up to the third floor where the turning radius sits to check on the works. I couldn't believe my eyes. All of the wicks from the candles I had put in the night before were in two little piles on the floor. They were in perfect condition, the wax neatly stripped from each one. I don't really understand what's happening in this story. Well, what do you guys think? Should I continue with this one or just move to the next one? Because this is, like, kind of boring. I'm going to go to the chat real quick. This is the first time I've abandoned a story. Maybe the ghost will be mad, but I'm catching up with the chat while there's a lot of comments. I think the realtor might have disclosed someone's died there. You guys are having a conversation. I don't know what's going on in here. Have him do it. Have him do what, Chappie? What's going on? Well, from Missionary. What? You guys are talking about some juicy stuff in here. You guys telling ghost stories? Isn't there some 3-year period when someone is killed in a building where it can't be on the market, or am I making that up? No, I think that you can sell a house right away. It's just a matter if the person wants to move in or not. Yeah, I lost track too, Pumpkin. I'm gonna skip it. Yeah, me either, X. This one stinks. Chappie, did you send me another one on Twitter? Ooh, Evie, I just got your tweet. I sent you a message. Evie, if you want to message it to me now, do it. Please. Um, Chappie, where's your other one? As a young teenager, my mom, brother, and I lived in this little bitty trailer. That one? Is that what you're talking about? Can you read one in Keith's voice? I could, but it would probably be very hard for me because it's hard enough for me to read anyways. All right, I'm going to skip that story. Chappie sent me another one that I didn't read. I'll read that one. It's pretty quick. And then we'll move on to another one. And maybe I'll get Evie's story and I can read hers. Yeah, I did fail it and I got a new mic. Yeah, this story stinks. All right. Hopefully you like the mic. It's kind of odd having it right in my face, but it seems to work really well. And it cost me almost $200 for all this crap. I got two of each. I got two mics. Each mic actually it cost. Oh my gosh, it cost more than that because I bought two of them. Crap. Jeez, this is an expensive little show here, but you guys have been beyond generous, so it's evening out. Thank you again for everyone who's donated. Thanks to Wet Water and Death Wish Coffee for when you guys sent me this cup. Whenever the heck you sent this to me a long time ago. Don't drink coffee, but it works good for water. Oh, you did, Zombie. Okay. I might not be able to get to it today because I'll have to go dig around the internet, and it might be kind of boring in the stream if I'm doing that now, but I will read it on the next one. All right, I'm going to read Evie's. If you guys have stories, tweet me, and I'll read it, and then I'll send you a message, and I can get to it. I'm going to read Chappie. I'm not sure if this is the one you want me to read, but I think I read your first one. The Air Force. The Air Force one, didn't I read that last week? Chappie, did I read your Air Force one last week? I think I already read that, right? Am I missing your comments in here? Oh, Trash Boat, what's that? They turned the Foxborough Mental Institution into luxury condos. They were kind of known for on... Yeah, I know about the Foxborough Mental Institution. My friends used to sneak into that. There's so many mental institutions in Massachusetts, but that was like the thing to do. Bob went into them all the time. My friend Bob. No, all my friends did. That guy, all of them. I think Seth did too. I never went into any. I wanted to. Massachusetts has so many mental institutions. Sheep, send me a tweet, and then I'll message you, and then we can message each other. Oh, you don't drink coffee, Nathan. Finally, someone else who doesn't drink coffee. Yeah, I don't drink coffee. I never have. I tried it. I tried like a year ago sipped it. Oh my gosh, it was the grossest thing I've ever tasted. I just can't do it. Evie, thank you for even sending it to me. I'll go read it now and see what's up. All right, thanks for being here, Twitch. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you heard some good ones. The beginning ones from the people were good, and the last story I read was a good one. Yeah, I don't like the taste either. All right, cool. All right, here we go. Going in. I'm going to read Chappie. I didn't see Chappie respond. I think I read these last week, but I don't know if I did, but they're not too long, so here we go. This is from Chappie. Nathan Barnatt. Well, Bubba, I do. Wait, what is this? Oh. Sorry, I got so many burps from this wet water. Here's one of the stories. I was stationed in the Air Force for 8 years. I always felt there was no safer place to be. Hang on. I always felt there was no safer place. What's the camera on? Is it on the tight shot or the wide shot? Let me cut to the tight. Ooh. This story is from the one and only uber generous, always punctual viewer, Chappie. I was in the Air Force for 8 years. I always felt there was no safer place to be. Want to be drunk and walk around at night? Sure, go ahead. Not Kadena Air Force Base, Okinawa. There are so many stories about ghosts. Hell, there were prisoners on that base that were used in World War II. You didn't dare go near. Well, I worked flight line, 12-hour days, just fixing jets nonstop. Every quarter or so, we would have an exercise. You wore 25 pounds of extra gear. I tell you, it sucked. Well, one night, after a particularly difficult shift, I went back to my shoebox-sized dorm room. My bed was up on stilts, and to save room, my fridge was under my bed, along with my dresser and some other small furniture. Plenty of room between the bed and everything under it. Well, as I lay there in this cusp of sleep, I feel my bed tugged down ever so softly when it came back up and started to go down again. I fully awoke. I sat up in bed and looked around. It's dark, but you can still sort of see. There's nothing. Not gonna lie, sort of creeped me out. But maybe it was me. I fell back asleep shortly after, and the next day I forgot about it. How's the line go? Sunset burns away darkness or something like that? I don't know. I'm no poet. I know I was I know I was I know was I know was when I see light I don't feel creeped out anymore. Well, as it would seem, my little visitor came back. Not every night, but when my bed started shaking, my eyes would go wide and I would lie there wishing it would stop. It would happen for about 2 minutes in your about 2 minutes. In your mind, in the dark, 120 seconds is a lifetime. This went on for about a month. Wow. Off and on before before an exercise at work. Well, my little friend decided to try my luck one night after a fairly grueling day. As I start to fall asleep, that little bastard had the nerve to tug at my bed. Tonight of all nights, as my bed bobs once, then twice, without thinking, I grab the side of my bed, hang over the edge, looking down and yell, "If you don't knock that S off, I'm gonna kick your ass." Well, wouldn't you know it, it stopped and never happened again. Talking to a friend of mine a few months later, he told me he heard what sounded like children playing in the dorms around the same time as well as the bed. That place was crappy as hell. I can't imagine what may be left there. Let me know if you want more. Wow, that's a good one, Chappie. I remember, I didn't read this last week. I had just read it and remembered reading it and thought I read it last week. That was a good one. We got another one down here from Chappie. I'm going to read this one's a little shorter. As a young teenager, my mom, brother, and I lived in this little bitty trailer. Single mom doing her best. I always had the most vivid nightmares that I can still remember all these years later while in my old bedroom. Well, one Thanksgiving, we went out of town to visit family. I suppose I forgot to tell every one of my friends. He came. Sorry, I just messed this up. It's like highlighting. Okay. Well, one Thanksgiving we went out of town to visit family. I suppose I forgot to tell one of my friends. He came through one night and saw what appeared to be a TV being on behind curtains in my bedroom. He figured we were home, but no answer, so he left. We got back a few days later, and my buddy came by and said, "Hey, I thought you were home." "Nope," I replied. He had a really puzzled look on his face. When he then said, "Well, your TV was on in your room. Did you leave it on?" I replied, "Eric, there's no TV in our room." Whoa. He knew that he had stayed over there before. Just writing it out gave me goosebumps I haven't felt in a long time. Dang, that's awesome. That's a good one, Chappie. Thank you for sending those. All right. Now I just got Evie's. I'm going to read Evie's story. There were two incidents that happened at my friend's house. She was Wiccan and a little weird, and it was middle school. She always said her house was haunted by a little girl and an old lady and a Native American. I never really believed her because, Charmed was a thing back then, and everyone wanted to be a special witch. Until one day something happened to me, but first something happened to her. This first one was shorter. We were hanging out in her living room, and she had asked me for a CD. I tossed it at her and accidentally hit her in the mouth with it. When I tell you she changed in a split second, I'm not exaggerating. Next thing I know, she was chasing me around the house with a knife until I got to her room and closed the door before she could get to me. Oh my God. She had no recollection of what had happened. She just blacked out. I honestly thought she was screwing with me, and I kind of left it at that until it happened to me. Oh my God, this is freaking me out. Dude, the second incident happened at the same house. I was spending the weekend there, and we had played with a spirit board one of the nights. Gosh. It was similar to a Ouija board, but not the same. I don't really remember what it was like, but honestly, nothing really happened with it. However, the next morning when I woke up, I swear I saw an old woman's face right in front of mine. Like nose to nose close. Oh my God. Her face was like personified evil. I closed my eyes and opened them again, and she was gone. I shook it off, figuring it was just my sleepy brain messing with me. So we were doing what middle schoolers do, and we were building a giant Harry Potter Lego castle. That's when I blacked out. Next thing I know, I'm outside on one side of a sliding glass door, and she's on the other side looking scared out of her mind. Oh my God. I am not a violent person. I've never been in a fight, very non-confrontational. I look at her confused, and she cracked the door and asked her what was wrong. She informed me I had chased her around the house like a madwoman. We got back into her room, and Legos were everywhere. I asked her what had happened. She said she accidentally knocked a part of it over, and I went ballistic. I can't remember what happened to this day. I have never blacked out before or since. Holy crap. Evie, that's insane. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That story is from Evie in the chat. I don't exactly remember your full name, username. It's like Evie something. Thank you, Evie. That was amazing. And Chappie. Those are really good stories, you guys. Thanks, Chappie. Oh, come on, Chappie. You gave another $5. You don't have to give me anything. You just gave me a story. If you guys like Chappie and Evie's stories, then you can donate $1 if you got it. Only if you got it. Only if you have it. To prevent Chappie from donating any more money. Luigi's Mansion. I love Luigi's Mansion sheep prop. Nathan needs to stream Luigi's Mansion. I would. Oh, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that. My Nay Play. I'm gonna start doing my Nay Play gaming again. I do my live game streams, but I've been so into these ghost stories that I haven't been playing games. Sorry for everyone who likes watching me play video games. Yeah, that was good. Chappie and Evie. Those are amazing stories. Thank you for sending those. Sheep Prod. Yeah, my gaming channel, I think it might be in the description. It's Nayplay, Nayplay. You can go subscribe to that. It's EVE. That's right. EVE. Thank you for your story. And Chap E. Did anyone else tweet me? Should I just read other people's stories that are sending me stories? I don't know where else you'd be sending them to me. Let me check my Instagram. Maybe people have messaged me. No messages on Instagram. Cool. All right. Well, I'll get back to the book. What time is it now? 8:30. Maybe I'll do 2 more in the book, and then I'll wrap it up. Last week I did 5.5 hours. I don't know if I can do 5.5 hours again. Thanks, Cheap Prod. Sonic. Lamb. Oh, it didn't scare you? What are you talking about? Listen to me. You won't listen to me. We will miss you, Nathan. Wait, what? What's going on? What are you talking about, Chappie? No, I see your comment. I don't like it. I like. Oh my God, Chappie, you freaked me out. I just heard someone outside, and I was like, it sounded like it was someone like touching this wall. Um, I feel like a moron, honestly, every time you say "don't look behind you," because I'm thinking I'm not going to, because I'm not gonna let you freak me out. It's just the fact of you saying "don't look behind you." I start thinking, what if they're seeing something I'm not seeing? I have a stupid imagination, a stupid gullible brain. Can you guys hear the crickets? That's a question I would like to know the answer to, because I want to know if this mic is cutting out the sound of the crickets. Thank you for your donation, Chappie. Please don't scare me out of my brain. Yeah, Chappie can say whatever he wants because he's given so much money. Chappie donated $300 at once tonight, and a billion other $5 donations. My moobs. What are my moobs? Oh, you can hear the crickets? Dang, I was hoping this would cut it out. These crickets are so loud around this house. It's like you can hear them from like every room inside the house. I don't know how crickets are so loud, but I guess it kind of works with this show. Oh, Phelan got some licorice to help soothe your fears. Get some licorice. Thank you, Phelan. I will. I will buy some of my favorite black licorice with your $3. Thank you. Well, after I pay my rent, then I'll just enjoy some licorice. Thank you, Phelan. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My man boobs. Media D. I don't have man boobs. I do have incredibly muscular pecs, I guess. They're soothing. Okay, good. All right, cool. Let's get back to the book. Hello, Paul. I'm glad you're back. Yeah, I guess it does add to the ghost stuff. The ghost vibe, I guess you could say. All right. So my book light is actually like dying on me, and I guess I can change the battery. I should go get new batteries. I don't know what kind of battery goes in there. I don't even know how to open this thing. It's kind of hard for me to read because it's so dim. This book has been really good, but these last two stories haven't been very great. Life's Strange Happenings. These ones in the back are long and boring. I read that one. That one was good. I read that like in the beginning. Trespassers. Ooh. Okay, this one's good. Ooh, then Tapping. All right, these are going to be my last two, if they're good. If this one stinks, I'm trying to get two good ones here. So, we'll see what happens. Please be good. Don't let us down, book. Do your job. Ooh, this next story is called Trespassers from Nantucket Ghosts. This is the first house we've built, and it's also the first new house we've ever lived in. We finished it in the spring of 1983, and we're in by June with our 3 kids. Kate was 6, Nathan was 4, and Hunter was just 2. What the heck? This is the 3rd story tonight that has had the name Nathan in it. So many of these stories have Nathan in them. I don't like it. I mean, I would like to say I like it because I like hearing my name in things, but I don't like it when it's a ghost story. Come on. And he's the middle child. I'm the middle child in my family. Dude, I don't like this. This one is gonna freak me out. Pam and John Mickelson moved to Nantucket from North Carolina. John was one of the owners of a large restaurant and hotel management company and came to the island to become managing director of the Sherburne Associates Properties. In addition to supervising several smaller businesses, he is responsible for all operations at the Boat Basin, the Harbor House, and the White Elephant. Pam runs her own advertising business out of a studio in her home. Pam Michelson is slim, blonde, green-eyed, Southern. It was 6:30 on an unusually hot August evening. Perched on a stool in her kitchen, Pam was absent-mindedly wiping condensation off the sides of her water glass. The first thing that happened, she went on, involved a large can of paint. We had only been in the house a week or so, and I came downstairs with the kids one morning and found a heavy 4-gallon can, a great big thing, sitting in the middle of the floor in the den. John came downstairs a few minutes later, and I asked him why he had lugged the can in. He said that he hadn't. The children were so small that they couldn't have picked it up, and even if they wanted to. John and I looked at each other. The can was one of several that had been sitting out in the garage. That's weird. It had not been inside when we went to bed the night before. Right from the beginning, the kids heard voices. The boys in particular heard a woman calling their names over and over. I don't like this story. I'd been in another room or another part of the house and hear them saying, "What, Mom? What do you want?" They'd be irritated because I always seemed to be calling them, and I'd be a little irritated because I hadn't said a thing, and yet they were continually caterwauling to see what I wanted. It was very peculiar. At first I thought it was just the wind, but it must have happened 100 times. I remember one afternoon when Nathan came running into the kitchen and said, "Mom, would you please tell Kate to stop calling me?" I had driven Kate over to a friend's house, and I knew Nathan was aware that she wasn't home. So I said something like, "Nathan, you know Kate isn't home now." He insisted, "But Mom, she just keeps calling Nathan, Nathan, Nathan." Oh my God. I don't like hearing this. This is really freaking me out. This story is like meant for me. And I don't like that. I don't like the big book reading into me in my life and thinking about me. This book has a freaking consciousness. I'm haunted, you guys. There's no other explanation. Why else would the word name Nathan be in a book? Oh, it's a kind of rare name. She keeps calling Nathan, 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 and it's driving me crazy. Our house is built in an L shape, and most of the things that happened went on in the base of the L, so to speak. The garage, the den, and a small bathroom make up the lower section. My studio is situated above. One day, as I was alone in the house with Hunter, who at the time was 2.5, and we were on our way out to do some errands, we went down to the garage, got into the car, and then I ran back upstairs to get my purse and a shopping list. I was up there for a couple of minutes when I heard Hunter's little feet padding up the stairs. I could tell he was hurrying. I turned around as he rushed into the room. His face was drained. He blurted out, "Mom, the dark shadow went past my window." Oh my God. Oh my God. This story. I asked for it. I asked for a good one. I remember thinking how strange it was that he should say such a dramatic thing. He was really too little to be conjuring up spooky stories, and the kids are not allowed to watch unsupervised television. I hadn't heard Kate and Nathan talk about seeing figures or shapes, and Hunter was genuinely scared. Our house is buried in pines, and there's no possibility of a cat going by outside and throwing a strange light or reflection inside the garage. I picked him up and we went back down to the car. I must say my heart was really pounding. And the can of paint and the woman's voice were odd, but the idea of a dark figure wandering around in the garage was downright terrifying. We looked around the corner and the garage was empty. I tried to reassure Hunter and myself whatever he had seen was gone. We didn't harp on this shadow business, not wanting to scare the kids, and they seemed to forget about it pretty quickly. Then a remarkable thing happened. I had an old bag of makeup thrown in behind some towels in the back of the linen closet upstairs. It had been there for some time. It was stuff I no longer used, and I was keeping it for St. Paul's Fair for Halloween. There were lipsticks, eyeliners, pencils, and several little compacts with blush. John was at work one day, and I had been out grocery shopping with all three kids. We had locked the house. When we got back, I carried the groceries into the kitchen and then went to use the bathroom off the den. There, next to the sink, was my bag of makeup. All the contents had been taken out and neatly arranged in rows on the counter. I couldn't believe my eyes. Oh my God, I have major goosebumps. This is terrifying me. Neither John nor the kids knew or cared about that old bag of stuff. And besides, the house had been empty all morning. I had taken one of the kids into the bathroom before we left, and the bag of makeup most definitely had not been there. John and I had to face the fact that there was something pretty abnormal about our new home. We're not ghosty types, and we have lived in a number of old houses without ever seeing or feeling a thing. Interestingly enough, I think we were more alarmed by these goings-on than the kids were. Kids can take a lot in stride, especially at that age. The next thing that happened, and that continued to happen frequently over the next 2 years, involved the entire house. When we leave home, we always put our two dogs in the basement, then lock the outer doors to the house. At the time that all these weird things were going on, we would return home and find every single light in the house on. Oh my God. All of the outer doors to the house standing wide open and the dogs outside. What? Oh my gosh, full body chills right now. Full body chills. Holy crap. Oh my gosh. At the time that all these weird things were going on, we would return home and find every single light in the house on and all outer doors to the house standing wide open and the dogs outside. We have a long driveway and our house is hidden from all sides. We know our neighbors and they wouldn't have been involved in a prank or anything of that kind. At first, we thought the house was being broken into, but nothing was ever missing. It was absolutely nuts. This would happen 3 or 4 days in a row, and then nothing out of the ordinary would occur for a couple of months. Wow. All right, here we go. Last page. Oh my God. There were several times when we had actually locked the dogs into the basement from the inside of the house. When we got home, the lights were on and the doors open, dogs out, basement still locked. It was as if someone had let the dogs out and relocked the basement door behind them. I hate this. During our first year in the house, we went away for a week and left one of John's employees and his wife house sitting. They are very spades a spade sort of people. When we got back, they sat us down and told us that the house had apparently been broken into. They said that on 2 separate occasions they had locked up everything and gone out, only to return to find doors opened, lights on, and dogs gone. Each time it happened, they had checked our silver and valuables to see if anything seemed to be missing, but nothing had been disturbed. We told them about our ghost. At first they were incredulous, and then they were quite put out, saying, "Why on earth didn't you warn us? We were both nervous wrecks." We built our house on an area that had been heavily used by Indians. One finds quartz flakes and broken arrowheads in the dirt road all through the Dionys area. I can't help wondering if we built on a burial ground or if we unwittingly disturbed some residue of Indian life. John and I both felt that this presence or visitor in the house was a woman. I guess because of the makeup and the female voice calling the kids. It's horrifying. At any rate, it disappeared completely after we had been in the house for maybe 2.5 years. Perhaps some ancient spirit felt that we were living someplace we shouldn't be and just wanted to let us know that we were trespassing. Wow, that's a pretty good one. That story is called Trespassers from Nantucket Ghosts. That was a good one. That's what happened at my house, my mom and dad's house. When we first moved in, there was tons of activity. And then about 2 years later, it all just stopped. Like after we were like in the house for a while, it's like the ghost was like, yeah, okay, you're fine, whatever, I don't care anymore. Gonna go to the chat for a second. Oh, dang, someone donated again? What the heck? You guys are bananas. Wagman, you could have some music or something playing while reading to drown out the bugs. Lots of royalty-free music, horror music. Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was distracting or not. I thought about that because I do have music I use for the intro, like royalty-free, spooky music. Thank you for that donation, Wagman. Thank you very much. Maybe I will do that. If you guys let me know, I'll do it. If you guys prefer music playing, I could turn the music on right now. I do have music that I could play. In these stories, they make a big ordeal and then just stop. Yeah, it's weird, X. That always happens. And honestly, that's what happened in my mom and dad's house. For like the first 3 years, there was stuff happening constantly, and then it just stops. It's like the ghost gets used to the people and just doesn't mess around anymore because maybe they're annoyed, or maybe you are disturbing. It's almost like kicking up dust, you know? I feel like you're maybe kicking up ghost dust by being there, and then after you're there for a while, ghost dust settles. Does that make any sense? Sometimes ghosts come and go in waves, and many years may pass with calmness before another wave of activity. Sometimes they never come back. But thanks, Cinemaphobic. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you like them. Ooh, spaceships and blaster hits. I would love some spooky chiptunes. Hey, do you have to be in Florida at all soon? In November, I'll be there, Connie. My fiance wants to meet you, Nathan, and she's a huge fan, and so am I. Well, thank you, Connie, Bunny. I'll just call you Bunny, because I'm not sure I'll say the first word. Ghost dust. This dream reminds me of being with my friends in a sleepover and telling ghost stories. Really relaxing. Thanks, RS. That's what I would like it to be. Basically just hanging out with all my friends and I'm reading ghost stories. And hopefully this bare bones set is enough to set the mood. It's pretty basic. I was thinking about doing some more to it, but I think the black backdrop's good, right? If you haven't seen it, check it out. I know it's an hour long, but maybe listen to it in the car or something. The whole story is a podcast I started doing, and the first episode is on my channel, and then it's going onto iTunes as a legitimate podcast. And I had Susie on it, aka Mortimer, Susie Burhow, one of my friends, and she knows a lot of stuff about ghosts and paranormal activity and like just spooky stuff in general. She's like really into it, so she was a good first guest to have. I forget why I was saying that. Oh, because in that show I have this backdrop that it's like a spooky forest, and I was thinking I could get another backdrop for this show, but I kind of like the black. But if you guys would like me to get a different backdrop, let me know. You guys do donate to me, so I could use the donations. Play your Neo Geo song, Wagman. I don't think that would be appropriate for this show, but I could because I do own the rights to it. Thank you again for another dang donation. $5 more. Thank you very, very much. It's $10 from you. That's awesome. You're the best. EVE. I will be in. I think it's like right outside of Orlando. If you guys should look up. It's an awesome convention. If you guys don't know it yet and you're near Florida, you should go to Free Play Florida. It's an awesome video game convention that I go to every year, and Keith is there. And I will be there in November. I think it's like November 11th. Around then I'll be there. To everyone who's asking about Florida, I'm not joking. I live alone and heard scraping. Chappie, I believe you because I think you have ghosts around you all the time. You have some very crazy stories, and you've said so much in the chats over these few weeks about all the stuff that's happened to you and your family, and I believe everything you say because there's some pretty crazy stuff you said. I like to hear stories and judge them and think, okay, that sounds like someone would just make it up or someone's brain is just imagining things. But when they're so versatile and different and the activity is so unique and the stories are so unique, you can kind of tell when someone is like not embellishing, and that is Chappie. Chappie has some weird stuff happen to him. My head was under my covers because it's nice and warm. But I know you accept donations, but is it possible for fans to send gifts? Yes, Phelan. Like for your set or anything? Yes, totally. Let me get next time I'll do it, or maybe I'll put in the description of the videos when I get the address. My brother Seth has a P.O. box, and I can use that. So I'll start putting the P.O. box in the descriptions of these videos. I'll put it in this once this is like a video on its own. So yes, thank you for wanting to do that, Phelan. I will start adding that. If people want to send stuff, I'm totally open to taking things from you for free. Thank you. Hello, Savage Hamster. Yeah, seriously, I should bless this house because I am afraid that I'm opening a portal to another world. I saw a ghost flying out of my brother. What? Savage Hamster? That's insane. Maxtertube. I moved into a house where an old man died ever 6 to 12 months ago, about 6 months ago. I swear someone is walking up the stairs. What really creeps me out is my dog hears it too and starts barking. I get goosebumps. Be careful. Dogs see everything. Well, thanks, Bunny. I'm glad you're here. Thank you guys for enjoying my face. Wow, Chappie. Be careful, Chappie. It's calmed down quite a bit since I've gotten older, but I still get feelings from time to time. Yikes. Wow. Alright, cool. I'm going to read this next story. This one might be my last one. That last one was pretty good. I keep reminding myself, I read some good ones last week. You guys remember the one last week where the guy was saying there was like banging coming from the middle of his floor? That one was freaking me out. I need to load that one as its own individual video. Not many people watch these afterwards, like these streams and the isolated ghost stories, but some people seem to be liking them, so I guess I'll keep doing it. I'm definitely at least going to just keep doing these live streams. I don't know if I'll I don't know if I'll continue cutting them all up and loading them as videos, but the live streams are fun for everyone who's here to listen to them live, so hopefully you guys are enjoying at least that. Nathan, love your videos. Would love to meet you in person one day. Well, thanks, Galleon. I'll be doing some tour. Hello, Angie. I have trash. I did Ouija boards a couple times. One time was crazy what happened. Oh my gosh, I could tell that story at one point. I had to like write it down because I don't remember all the details off the top of my head. Hold on, light bulb will unscrew itself. Evie, you have so many good ghost stories. Well, thanks, Kate. I usually do it spaceships. I usually do this on Wednesdays. I definitely would be afraid of your ghost, Chappie. I usually do this on Wednesdays. Sometimes I do it on Mondays, but it's usually Wednesdays. All right. Here we go. My light is getting very dim, so it's hard to read. This might be my last story. So here we go. This next story is titled Tapping from Nantucket Ghosts. Good old, reliable, horrifying book. Still wonder why I keep reading these stories. It's ruining my life, and I can never sleep anymore. But anyways, here we go. I was doing some painting for Weather Hill Restoration last February. We were finishing up on a house that was built in 1747. I was told that it had been moved from Sherburne, the earliest settlement on the island, to its present site on the north side of town. This particular morning was blustery and gray and wet. I was the first one to get to work. As I was setting up, the electricity went off and on. I thought nothing of it. That's a normal occurrence on a stormy winter day. I began to paint. I was working on a window casing in the parlor and listening absent-mindedly to the house creaking and settling in the wind. I felt someone tap me on the right shoulder. Without looking around, I said, "Hi, Amy," assuming it was my assistant. No one answered. Oh, man. Oh, man. A moment later, I felt a second and equally firm tapping again on my right shoulder. I felt like a person patted. It felt like a person patting me with 4 fingers. It wasn't rough, but it was insistent and definitely not imagined. Amy? No, Amy. I laughed. Is this supposed to be a joke? Quit screwing around. I'm painting. I hadn't heard her coming in, but between the sounds of the house groaning and the wind howling, it was noisy inside. Still no answer. A second later, someone tapped me again. Gosh. I twisted around, quickly laughing and a little irritated, and found I was alone. There was no one else in the room. I called out to my assistant. No one answered. I stood there, my mouth properly hanging open. I felt a slight breeze, a very cold movement of air pass by me from the right. It was icy, much colder than the general room temperature. The latch door to the kitchen was standing all the way open, and the breeze went by me in that direction. And then the kitchen door began to move, and wham! Clapped shut right before my eyes. Oh my God. Because of the slant of the floor, that particular door has a tendency to swing open on its own. It never swings closed. The rest of the crew didn't arrive for another 10 minutes. When I left the house that afternoon, I passed a pleasant-looking older woman walking her dog. Do you work in that house? She asked. Yes, I do. Did you know that that house has ghosts? It has quite a few. They've been seen by several people. Oh, I said. I felt the hair going up on the nape of my neck. The woman walked on, and I didn't have the presence of mind to ask her what she was talking about. The moment passed. Maybe that's just as well. That's a pretty good little short one. Maybe I'll do another one. Well, this one's called A Trick of the Universe. Let's see how long this one is. Maybe I'll end on this one. Oh gosh, this is a long one. I don't think I want to read a long one because the long ones tend to be super boring. This one seems like it ends well. Some of them have just way too much backstory. This one's called The End of September. Oh, this is the last story in the book. Let's read this one. Let's read the last story in the book and see if maybe that one's good. This will be my final one of the evening. All right, guys. Thank you for everyone for joining me. I'll say goodbye before I wrap it all up. Oh, what's up with that? $5 from Wagman again. Not going to be able to watch the next stories, but here's $5 before I go. Well, thank you, Wagman. I don't know if you've already left. Thank you very, 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 very much. Thanks, chap. The Wagman. A short story equals we get 2 more in the end. I'll save the last story. Okay, cool, Eric. All right, guys. Here, this is the last one, I think. I hope it's a good one. I really hope it's a good one. I've been lucky in the past, and I've got good ones at the end. All right. This story is titled The End of September from Nantucket Ghosts, my favorite book on the earth, and probably the most words I've ever read on one collection of papers. This is the bedroom. It does have the strangest door. What? This is the bedroom. It does have the strangest door. A large man has to squeeze through like a crab, sideways and head down to fit. But once you're in, the room opens up into a warm, sunny square. Yes, the floorboards in this house are all original. They are such different widths and lengths that they form, within each room, a kind of splintery, crazy quilt. They must have been treated with untold buckets of oil, but I don't believe they've ever been sanded down or refinished. The door panels, the corner posts, the overhead beams, and most of the windows look just as they did when the builder put them in place 2.5 centuries ago. As a matter of fact, I've been having a heck of a time this week trying to get ancient putty out of this window frame. When one of those 18th century builders did a job, he did it to last. This is my office over here. Have a seat. I'm not quite sure where to begin. I haven't told anyone but my wife about these experiences and wasn't planning to until I heard you give a talk at Rotary the other day. So if you don't know, this is the story. The person who lived through this is telling this to the author. Mary and I moved into this house 3 years ago this summer. Mary is a native Nantucketer, and I've been here since 1983. We met on the island. I'm an architect. I came to Nantucket to work for Design Associates and now have my own business. Mary and I slept when we were first in the house, in the front bedroom. One night I was awakened from a sound sleep by the bed shaking. It was enough of a motion to make me open my eyes and look for Mary, who I thought might be getting up, but no, she was as still as a stone, curled up next to me in a deep sleep. And then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw someone at the foot of the bed. It was a woman. Normally I'd be like, nice, that's cool. Girl coming to say hello. That would be nice for me to experience something like that. Although I probably wouldn't really like it if I woke up in the middle of the night and saw anyone in my room. Teenage Nathan thinks it's cool. 37-year-old Nathan does not. The people across the street leave their outside lights on all night. So it was dim, but not completely dark in our room. The woman was facing me, standing at the side of the end of the bed. She was shimmery, opaque. Now, this sounds really strange, but she was windblown. She looked as if she were standing in a stiff breeze. Strands of dark shoulder-length hair moved around her face. Her gown was long and white and had tiers of ruffles on it. I can remember it seemed to fit snugly under her chin. I'm going to stop for a second here. This is something my friends and I always talk about. Isn't it weird how ghosts are always wearing long white gowns or like something all black? Where are the ghosts wearing Jenko jeans or Samba sneakers? Where are the 90s ghosts? Where are the wallet chains on the ghost? That's what I want to know. I guess not Bob Marley. What's the guy from Scrooge? Jacob Marley. He's kind of a 90s ghost. He had chains. It's just kind of interesting that ghosts are always old-timey. I guess these are old houses. Anyways, I'd love to see a 90s ghost. I was awake, or at least I sure felt I was, and I really wasn't afraid. I had a strangely immobilized feeling, as if I could even reach out to wake Mary. I just lay there looking at the woman. I couldn't see her features in any great detail, but if I had to describe her expression, I'd say she looked like a mother who has come to check on a sleeping child. She was a youngish woman, not terribly tall. She might have been just over 5 feet. It's hard to say how long I looked at her. 10 seconds? 20 seconds? And then without changing position, she floated backwards, still looking toward me and out the open door. Oddly enough, I got chills right then. Oddly enough, I felt calm about the experience. After a short while, I drifted off to sleep again. It wasn't until the next morning when I told Mary about what had happened that I realized how wacky and scary it sounded. This happened toward the end of September. The following year, at around the same time, exactly the same thing occurred. I was awakened from a deep sleep and found myself facing this woman. Oh my gosh, I don't like thinking about looking at a ghost. Again, her hair and dress were moving in a wind, and I couldn't feel. Like he couldn't feel the wind. And after several seconds, she floated silently out the door. We moved into the downstairs bedroom the following year. I thought to myself, well, I guess that'll be the last of her. But when the end of September came around, the experience was repeated downstairs. Again, after standing at the foot of the bed for several seconds, the woman drifted backward and out the door. Mary was horrified by the idea of the first 2 visits, so I never even told her about the last one. They really don't frighten me. I never feel as though this woman means me any harm. You might want to speak to the Eastons, the owners of the house. I wonder if anyone in their family ever saw the woman or if they know who she is. I've never said anything to them. I guess it's a little embarrassing to talk about nocturnal visitations from a ghostly female. But go ahead and give them a call, and I'll let you know if I see my friend again in September. Okay, so it seems like the author now goes over to this Easton house. This is from Jane Easton. This is quotes. Well, that's very interesting. We lived in the house for 15 years, as you know. It's a very old building. Uh, I was made aware of two presences in the house over the years, but I don't know anything about a young woman. My first experience was with a little girl. This happened at night in the front bedroom upstairs. My husband and I were sleeping, and I felt the corner of my bed go down on my side. Every time, everyone feels the front corner of their beds go down. Weird. Serious. Uh, my husband and I were sleeping, and I felt the front corner of the bedside. It felt as though a young child had sat down. Sat down. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't see anything. This light is really dim. I couldn't see anything, but I had an immediate and very strong impression that this was a little girl about 3, and her name was Annie. I felt I had to say something to her, a soothed word, I suppose, and I said something innocuous, like, "Are you all right?" I felt the child get up as I spoke, and then she was gone. Big time chills. I don't know why I get so freaked out when I just think of the people talking to the ghost. Oh my gosh, this is the worst. I thought that maybe I had imagined this under a guest of ours. Sorry. Why can't I read words? Why do I do this to myself? I should not be reading ghost stories. I thought that maybe I had imagined this until a guest of ours, also a woman, reported the same experience after sleeping in the front bedroom. She came down in the morning and told me that she was sure she had been visited by a little girl. My God. Her sense of what had happened was very similar to mine. Another odd thing occurred at night in the house. I remember it was early fall, maybe September or October. I walked into the kitchen where we have a huge 18th century hearth. The lights were off, but there was enough light coming in from the next room to see. I was just going to pick up a magazine that I left on the kitchen table. There, standing in front of the hearth, was a figure. It was vaporous, kind of cloudy, but was definitely a human form. It had a shawl over its head and back. I guess I froze. I remember wondering if the form was a woman or a man, and then it was gone. I saw that figure twice, so I know it wasn't just some kind of trick of lighting. These old Nantucket houses have been used by many people, and I guess it shouldn't seem strange that we occasionally experience something that is out of the ordinary. It seems to me that we still have a lot to learn about the workings of the human spirit. That is the final story in the book, and it's titled The End of September from Nantucket Ghosts. That is going to wrap up this stream. Some pretty good stories in there. Honestly, the best stories this week were from you guys. Dang, what up? What's up? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So many donations. Oh my gosh. Hang on. Oh my gosh. Neat Boss. Hi, Nathan. Got home just in time for your last story. Oh, dang. I'm sorry, Neat Boss. I'm sorry you only heard that one. Well, I mean, I'm going to check Twitter. Maybe someone sent me some new ones, and I'll read those to really end this. Nice way to start relaxing after work. Going to have to take Wednesdays off to catch your streams in the future. Thanks, Neat Boss. Thank you. Yeah, I should really try to stick to Wednesdays. It's tough because I'm like out of town some days and like working on stuff. So it's hard to be super exact every week. I'll donate to Nathan reading real ghost stories anytime. Your move, chaps. Oh, Eric Stephenson. Thank you, Eric Stephenson. And thank you very, very, very much, Neat Boss. Thank you for being here again. Chappie, $10, my best attempt to match. But seriously, what happened to the crickets? Oh, yeah, you always notice when the crickets are gone. Why would crickets just stop? They go all night. That last story, maybe they got freaked out by the ghosts. I honestly think the crickets can hear the ghosts because they stop sometimes at the scariest points. Man, thank you guys. Thank you for those awesome donations. Oh, Loic, back again. I had the Inspector Gadget theme song stuck in my head for years, like 2 or 3 years. Now all I can hear is Sinkin' and Lincoln. That's awesome. I'm sorry, but And like that, the crickets are back. Can you hear them? I can hear them. Weird. They're aware of us. The crickets are the ghosts, maybe. Or maybe I'm the ghost hunting the crickets and they're getting freaked out when they can hear me and that's why they shut up. I have the scariest story of all right now. What's up, Yoda? What's going on? That the stream is ending? You run out of beer? Let me check Twitter and see if someone sent me some new ones. Alright, hey, Sheep, hello, Sheep. Sheep, I see you on Twitter. I just sent you a DM. I have a question for you that's really only DM appropriate. Okay, I just DM'd you. What's the film's premise? Are you talking about my short film? Oh, you're responding to my tour. Sheep, you can watch the trailer to my movie on YouTube. And it kind of explains it. It's a bounty hunter taking a woman to prison. That's the premise of my short film. Let me read these, Yoda. My dog just pooped diarrhea and peed all over the room. I just spent over an hour cleaning it. Dang, that is the scariest story. Wonderful stream, Nathan. Hello, Pixels. The ghost stories were hit and miss, yeah, but the chat stories were great, and I liked several of the stories from the book. Yeah, there were some good ones in there, but not as many as last week. Was just crazy. I had happened to read like all the best stories last week. Thanks, Neat Boss. I can't wait for everyone to see it. Phelan, I agree with you. It's weird when crickets just stop. I always like look at animals, and when you see birds flying away, it means you get out of there. So crickets too, when crickets shut up, it's like, wait, why? Do I get my picture on here like y'all have? I think it's just your YouTube, Danny. I think you just gotta make it your YouTube avatar, you know? Like, I think you have to do it in your Google Plus page or something now. What are crickets? Crickets are little bugs on the ground. They're outside and they make noise at night. I think you know what crickets are, right? Hello, Revenge. Oh, cool. You guys are Cherokee? That's awesome. Where do we send the ghost stories? You can send them, you can leave them as comments in the videos. The last stream, episode 3, I pinned my comment at the top and said, everyone respond to this. So you can respond to my comment saying to leave your ghost stories, or you can just tweet me and then DM me. I have so many burps. Okay, here we go. Moment. I got my okay. This isn't a ghost story. It's just a question from Sheep. Sheep, if you can hear me, ask away. I really want more ghost stories from you guys, but I don't really have any. All right. Well, I guess I'll wrap it up. Kind of done with the story, I guess. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I will be back. I was gonna say I'll try to do a bonus ghost stream this week because I love doing it. I like doing 2 a week if I can, but I just don't have the time this week. But next week I'm pretty open. Next week's gonna be an easy week so far. Sometimes I get auditions like last minute, and this week I've had a bunch of auditions, and you get them like the night before, and then I gotta like prepare for them. So then it's tough for me to do stuff like this when I have auditions. But this is awesome. I can't thank you guys enough for all the donations. This has been a crazy donation night. Let me read off the donations actually before I go, because this is just next level. I go to so many auditions during the week and none of them pay. I have to drive all around town, and then if I don't get the job, it's like just all this work for nothing. So doing this really like offsets all of that. So thank you everyone. You're like honestly keeping me alive. So thank you very much. All right, I'm logging into my Streamlabs to see. Oh my god. You guys. I have so many donations tonight. $444.66 directly donated to my PayPal through my Streamlabs. That is from you guys tonight. And then $160 in the super chat. So that is 500 and that's like $600, right? 444 plus 160, 544 plus 60, it's about $600. I got about $600 from you guys tonight. Oh my god. I'm speechless. I need to read them off. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is nuts. Oh, so this is like tells me how I read just the donations. How do I read the donations? I thought it could tell me. I could read like who donated what. Okay, I just skip through all the, because it also shows me all the comments, and I don't want to read all the comments. I just want to read. All right, Loic donated 5. Chappie donated 10. Eric donated 10. Neat Boss donated 15. Wagman donated 5. Wagman donated another 5. Wagman donated another 5. Phelan donated 3. Chappie 5. Rockin' Leg 10. Chappie 20. Loic 15. Scott C 25. Oh my god. Loic 16. X donated 7. Cam donated 25. Pumpkin Zone 10. Rachel 10. Sprite PD 5. Joe Met gave a sweet dollar. Spence gave 5. Oh, Patreon. Via Patreon. Oh, these are Patreon ones. Oh, this is awesome. Thank you guys. Oh, this is 7 days ago. These are old ones. That's still awesome though. Lots of Patreon ones. Wow. Oh, I gotta check my Patreon. I don't even think I always forget about my Patreon. Wow, that's amazing. I can't seem to read them all from the. Oh, here, I'll do this. So you guys will know your names. I'm gonna read the direct donations you guys gave tonight. This is unbelievable. Chappie 5. Chappie $300. Let's not forget Champ and Chappie tonight. Peter 5. Rachel 10. Scott B 10. Cameron 25. Jordan $6.66. Tyler 7. Loic 16. Scott C 25. Loic 15. And Chappie again with another 20. Dang, man. You guys are unreal. Okay, I'm going back to the chat. Thank you, everyone. I love you all. Thank you so much. I can't believe this. This is really blowing me away. This is like next level. Oh my god. Don't worry about it, Paul. Don't worry. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for just watching. Well, thank you guys. You make me feel amazing and keep me alive. Just stop acting, Ethan, and keep reading to us. We will make you rich. Yeah, Pixels. Seriously. But I love acting. It's my dream and my passion, and it's all I think about. So I will have to keep pursuing it and do this on the side for fun, and you guys can. It's just crazy because it's like I feel kind of guilty, honestly. It's like, oh, I get to just have fun doing things, and people will give me money to do it as I pursue my dreams. I almost feel like it's like a trust fund kid, and you guys are my rich parents. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's just really weird getting money from people. Well, thank you for keeping me company, Project Goat C. I'll just call you Project. The chat community tonight was honestly great. Yeah, Sheep Man, it was unreal, unreal. You guys are like the nicest chat people in the world, and I hear a lot from like other people that like chats can be nasty and rude and people making fun and saying gross, lame things. But my chats are like always pretty calm and cool, and everyone's pretty nice. So I can't thank you guys enough for being polite and nice to each other and not being obnoxious and mean to each other. And so, thanks again, everyone. Thanks, Neat Boss. Thank you for donating. This is pretty good community. Yeah, it's awesome. I got lucky with you guys. All right, cool. Well, thanks again, everyone. This has been Grave Stories from a grave digger, ex-grave digger, but still counts. All right, guys. Thank you very much. I will see you next Wednesday, if not before. If I end up being able to do another stream, I sure will. Thanks. I'll talk to you later. Bye.